It should be colored. We should
We
make it
will,
colored for you.
we're going to open the September 24th Selectmen's meeting. Open session public meetings are subject to being videotaped. Your image and voice may be recorded. Our first appointment is with the Board of Assessors. Come on up. We're going to have a tax classification hearing. I don't need to read this, do I?
Yeah.
Do I need to read this, Molly?
It is opening a legal hearing, public hearing.
All right.
I can read it for you.
Huh?
I can read it if you don't want to read it.
In accordance
Thank
with
you, ma'am.
Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 56, the Board of Selectmen shall hold a public hearing on Monday, September 24th at 7 p.m. in the Berlin Municipal Building, 23 Linden Street, room 206, Berlin, Mass. This hearing shall be held with the Board of Assessors for the purpose of discussing and determining the certified valuation of each class of property, the minimum residential factor, the allocation of the tax burden among the four classes of real estate: residential, open space, commercial, industrial, and personal property. Interested citizens may present oral or written views prior to or during the public hearing.
Does this have new numbers on it, Molly, or from the emailed one? Or
See?
is this the same one you emailed over, or is this have new
Yes.
numbers? Okay. Yes.
All right, Molly, would
So
you like to get
just,
started?
Is that opening the classification hearing? Is that what she just did?
Yes.
Okay. So I sent this out to you, but let's go over it. So, fingers are dry. So the calculations for the tax rate and other tax rate numbers are estimated for this presentation. The valuation numbers are proposed until the DOR approvals are given. What you just said, Mass Chapter 40, Section 56 allows a shift in the tax burden between property classes. This does not change the total tax levy as voted at town meeting. It simply determines the share borne by each class. And then the role of the assessor is to value property for the purpose of equitable taxation based on fair market value by what sales have taken place for the prior calendar year. So for FY19, we reviewed the 2017 sales. We administer abatements, exemption, and excise, and we present the classification hearing to you fine people. What the classification doesn't do is determine the tax rate. It only determines the distribution between tax classes. The tax levy is determined by town meeting appropriations and expenditures in state and county charges. So the purpose of this is for the Board of Selectmen to adopt a tax policy by the allocation of the local property tax to be borne by the four classes of property. Tonight, the Selectmen will discuss the tax rate policy as a uniform rate, open space discount, residential exemption, small commercial exemption. And then this is the four classes of property. So you have the residential and open space on one side, and the commercial and personal property, and industrial on the other side. And these are the preliminary values. The sales indicated that the values go up on average town-wide 5% for residential single-family houses. Commercial's gone up a little, but not that much at all. So we're going to have
That's why
that shifting again. And then this sheet that you were referring to with the different numbers, this sheet here is what we came up with last year or the year before, after we did all of our different meetings with the board. And so for fiscal 18, the average residential value was $395,215. This year it's $418,900, which is it's a little bit above 5%. And using what information for the levy I had when I was doing my preliminary stuff. That's what these numbers are based off of here. If the levy limit changes, then these numbers change. So, but Lisa had asked me about why it looked like the taxes were going up so much, and I went to the FinCom's website and pulled off their spreadsheets for last year, and their projection was for the spending to go up 5.4%. So that's part of the increase that's going on.
So I still had a question I had sent you after about the actual tax piece of it. Looked like it went up 2.3%, and the other seemed to come from monies that were from other places.
That tax summary.
Yeah. So here,
I didn't get to study that.
So it looked to me like it wasn't actually the spending that bumped it up. My guess is it's the valuation.
Well, it's a little of both.
Okay.
But, I mean, when people voted at town meeting, they, it was yeah, I found that.
Yeah, that's
sheet
fine.
here.
So if you look, the property taxes are actually only 2.3 of the percent of the spending is supposed to come from those. And then the other comes from state aid, local receipts, offset receipts, reserve receipts. So it really isn't 5.4% increase. It's from taxes, it's 2.3. I think it's important to clarify.
You've got this one too?
Yep.
Okay.
I think most of the problem is that 5% bump up
Right.
in valuations, and then with the commercial staying sort of flat.
Right. Well, I did, based on some of the numbers that FinCom had given, I did an estimate of what their taxes would have increased if we stayed at FY18 assessments and everything. And the taxes would, because there was different numbers, so I used them all
Okay.
just to see what
Cool.
they came out at. So it was anywhere from $400 on average up to $758. So when you do that split, you have to remember that people voted to spend a little bit more money. So
At town meeting.
if you look at this sheet,
Yep.
and I'll give you this sheet. Because I didn't know how else to explain it other than giving you math.
No, I love. Sorry, I love math. Numbers make me happy.
Really? Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So if you look at the 38% shift mark, the tax between FY18 and FY19, I forgot what year I was in, the tax increase is $731, so it falls in between that range of that. And these aren't all set, because we don't even have all the, where'd you go? We don't have all the information into the tax recap sheet to hit the submit button yet, do we?
I would say it's probably 99%.
Okay.
Don't you still have to figure this off of the increased property value though? If you were going to do this.
Yeah, I did
You'd
do
have
the-
to figure, or did you figure these numbers
Yes,
off of the increase?
the
Okay.
difference, I figured it off between the different, between the, yes.
Okay.
So
So really, Molly, at the end of the day, people are just gonna wanna know, are my taxes going up or are my taxes going down?
They're going up.
It-
There's no array around that, they're going up.
Yeah. It just, at what percent?
Depends on how much.
Well, and to avoid the issue of a couple years ago where the people of the town
I'm surprised.
had a little bit of an issue when they opened up their tax bills. Kind of like, what's the plan to disseminate the information so that people aren't going to fall over at the mailbox again?
This classification hearing, and we'll put something up on the website. It's, I don't know how else to,
Okay.
oh, we could put it up on the town's Facebook page.
Be prepared.
Yeah, well, I always have.
Well, you can change the shift a little too.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying
and I think
that's
we should
fair,
be
but-
pretty extreme on this shift based on, once again, you have a huge percentage over here that the residential has to go up and very little that the commercial has to go up
Because they didn't go up in value.
because they didn't go up in value.
So if you look,
But
part
if
of the
you hit
problem
them-
is your last year's value was, if I can read upside down,
It was,
and I can be corrected, 395 basically.
Mhm.
And today's same house is now worth 418, right up here. So it's 418, you come down to the shift that we had the same, and because your house is valued at more, you pay a higher rate, and the tax has gone up $731 for the same house, because your house is worth more today.
If we stayed with the 38%.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, got that?
But you also have to, I put the mall average at the end there, just so you can see how much they're paying out in taxes. And they're the ones who are filing appellate tax board cases and abatements. And if we lose in court, that's a big chunk for the overlay. So you're raising the overlay to also offset that, which has a little component into the tax rate too.
yeah. But we also looked at the neighboring communities.
Oh, yes.
And Hudson is crazy higher than we are. Obviously, they have lower average property values, but they are crazy higher than we are. And Marlboro is right in the ballpark. Even if we go up, we wouldn't be much higher than Marlboro.
The Hudson split.
Did you
I
find
went-
out how much
Well,
their
I went on,
shift was?
the DOR's only has up to 2016.
Okay.
That's where it ends. So in 2016, they were up to 1.75, but you have to work your way up to that, and there was special legislation passed 5 or 6 years ago to get to that 175, and now they're supposed to be coming back down. And so I was surprised when I saw that 1.75. Clinton's is shifting 62%. And Marlboro is only at, in 2016, I couldn't find out what they're at now because I couldn't get that information, was at 1.37. So, but their tax rates for FY18 are, their commercial tax rate, Marlboro is 25.73, where we were 23.36. Hudson is 35.18, while we're 23.36. And Clinton was 30.73, while we were 23.36. So yes,
So it
we're a lot,
seems like we ought to be able to
our rates a lot lower,
bump.
but not knowing, I can't go, the DOR just gives average single-family residence, so I couldn't get average commercial values that quickly from this afternoon to now.
Okay. So let's say we went with an extreme shift of 50%. What are the repercussions of us doing that?
I don't think you can, you'd be at the end, I don't think you can go up. I didn't have enough time to look into that, but you're at 150. So if values go up and down, it's always gonna be that split rate.
But we reset this every year, don't we? We choose whether it's 38 or whether it's 50 or whether
Right.
it's...
But you
So-
can't go above 150. After you
Right.
set it at 150, it will be at 150.
For this year, but next year we could go back down,
You can go down, but
right?
you
if
can't go
yeah.
up anymore. You can't shift it anymore.
Yeah, but my other question is, you can either choose to do it at a lower shift this year and people are still paying extra this year, or, you know, next year, you're even more, right? I mean,
Mhm.
I'm not sure the value of not shifting it. Can you explain if there's a value of not shifting it up to 50? Given these numbers that I'm seeing.
Just that coming back around, if all the commercial properties file because their taxes are too high,
Mhm.
Okay.
then the overlay is gonna be,
Have we had an issue with them filing that, given that our tax rate seems to be much lower than the
We
surrounding
have.
communities? Have we had a lot of
Highland
problems?
Common files every year.
Okay, and how do they do with that?
We haven't gone to court yet. We're just letting it ride. Not just letting it ride, but we haven't got a court date yet, so,
So we don't know.
yeah, so how we usually do it is see if the other people have a settlement figure that they want. If it's not anything we want to deal with, then we're going to have to hire a commercial appraiser and all that stuff, and that will cost money to hire a commercial appraiser. So that it's like unknown because they haven't pushed it and we haven't pushed it. I'm sure that they haven't pushed it because they aren't built out yet. And I don't know what's going to happen with the apartments or the hotel, because this is the first year they'll be having a partial assessment. So I can't answer
Okay.
until the tax bills go out. But
Is there any room, because I mean, $731.19 seems a little bit drastic.
Yeah, that's if you shift it further.
Yeah,
It
can
goes
you,
down.
could you bring it even, I'm thinking even if you bring it down to 45, I mean, it's still a significant increase, but it's not as shocking as do simple math, 2, 3, with an additional 370 rounded math for every half year bill. I think it would probably be a little bit easier to absorb for like a $200 increase than a $3 some odd dollar increase. I mean, what's the implication if we go lower or go higher?
It's-
Go higher in percent.
just the tax.
That's,
Okay.
she's
Same.
worried about the potential for the commercial
Yeah.
to come back and say, my taxes are too high. But I still look at this and go, even if we went to the most extreme shift, their bump up is 0.097% change, which on the grand scale of $922,000 in taxes, another, I just, compared to what this does to a residential,
It seems, yeah, it's a very high shift on regular folk
yeah.
versus commercial folk.
Well,
Exactly. But you have a week to think about it, because we're
Oh.
going to have to continue this because we don't have any final
we don't have the final numbers.
values.
But they'll probably be very close to these, right? Okay. You guys have anything else that you'd like to share to,
I did make a copy of the sales for you to look at.
I told you this wasn't gonna be as much fun.
You heard that.
These are all the new houses in town?
No, those are the properties that sold
Oh, okay.
that indicated that we needed to increase our values.
Oh,
Do we know from the apartments when those are gonna start selling? Because those would inevitably be lower priced than these. Joe, do you know when the,
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Apartments would be ready to start selling and would be starting to hit this
They probably won't start selling until.
Well, they aren't gonna sell, they're gonna rent, right?
for rent,
Well,
sorry.
Yeah,
rent.
they're gonna be renting.
But you,
Just-
I'm sorry, yeah, good clarification,
Just
but
falls on the
they
floor.
still, they get taxed by apartment,
Right.
you said,
Well,
so,
the whole building will get taxed, not
Okay.
each individual apartment, so.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's 204 apartments with a clubhouse and garages that they're gonna rent out and things like that. Right now, we're going through the permitting system to just get them their cistern tanks. So probably they won't be getting any buildings ready to even start filling until maybe the middle of summer next year. This is at least a 3 to 4 year project. It's large scale, so.
So this would not be impacting this very much next year.
Right.
But probably starting the following year, we'd be seeing more of a,
Yeah,
and
we
that
had- we
would
had-
potentially lower that average, yes or no?
I'm not exactly sure yet because apartments are put on the residential side. So I don't, so the value's gonna be going over on the residential side, so there'll be more value over there.
Which puts the, once again, the percentage shifts over to the other side.
Yeah.
Even though you're divvying it up between more people. Okay.
But when you say divvying up between more people, the apartment dwellers are not gonna be paying tax. The
It's the
building's gonna be paying
Building,
tax.
divvying it up between more
Yes, more,
structures.
yes. Okay.
I'm just not saying that.
I know,
I'm using
I'm
the
just
wrong
one-
words. Thank you. No, that's good.
I just wanna make sure.
Molly, can I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
Why are the apartments classified as residential if they're using them as a commercial enterprise?
Because residential people live there. I don't,
Oh, I just
I-
curious.
I assume, I've never had to do an apartment, so I just know that it goes on the residential side, and I'll have to find out. I'm assuming because residential people live there and they're doing, there's more use for them on the residential side than the commercial side, and they're gonna be using different services. They're gonna be using schools and whatnot, where a commercial property doesn't use
Yeah.
all of those.
Right. Well, when those buildings are getting finished, I'm gonna be taking you through them anyway for listing occupancies.
Yeah.
So you'll get a chance to take a look at each building.
That'll be good. I can't wait. 3 years.
Are there any other questions? Okay.
So you just want to continue the hearing
Yes.
till...
We're going to continue this until next Monday night?
7:30, you have to do it to a time certain.
What's that?
You have to continue to a specific time.
And it will be 7:30 next week?
Yeah, it looks
Okay.
like it.
Okay,
So 7:30 October 1st.
In
yes.
the meantime, if you have time, can you check on whether there are repercussions other than potential commercial abatement requests for putting the shift quite high?
Okay.
Is this yours?
Yep.
We're free to go?
Yes,
For now.
are. Thank you for asking.
Okay, thank you, Molly.
Let's see you next week.
Molly left copies if anyone wants one for nighttime reading pleasure. Oh, Molly,
Super fun stuff.
where'd she go?
Molly.
Molly. Her calculator, her water? Agua calculator?
Yes. I remembered when I got up there.
Whoops,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry, didn't mean to hit your pumpkin. Sorry. Do you want a Band-Aid for it?
No, it's all good.
All right, well, let's see. I had asked about deferring the minutes.
Yeah, just pass over 'em.
Okay, is that all right with the two of you?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
We actually also, we have Kristen and Kristen are here. I'm wondering if we can maybe move that up so they don't have to sit through the whole warrant.
Is that okay with you, Peg?
That's lovely.
All right. You want to come on up?
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Kristen and Kristen, huh?
Yes.
All right.
Last one of you is Stone.
That's me.
Because it freaked me out, because I have niece Kristen Stone, and I'm
Oh,
like,
that's
ooh,
weird.
and then I realized that it wasn't her, so. Pleased to meet you almost.
Nice to
family.
meet you.
So we do have your application here.
Just, you know, Joe.
This is the one from last week?
For the permits.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's
Okay,
updated.
perfect.
So, are we good now on the insurance?
Fireworks is clear.
Fireworks is clear.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's being co-sponsored by Recreation,
So
so
it's town insurance.
otherwise.
Yes,
other
right.
than the fireworks, right.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to share with us?
Nope.
How about you guys?
No
I don't
liquor
think so.
license, liquor license?
Nope, we don't need it. We're not doing it this year.
All right.
We
Yeah,
have
you
a
and me
request
both.
online already, because I shared it on the town's Facebook page, looking for a timeline of events. So if you could, is there one? And
Mhm.
if there is one, could you just shoot it over?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Definitely.
Okay. So the town is indemnified or of any issues, I'm assuming?
I didn't check that specifically with Maya. I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Frankly, most of the things that are there, like the bouncy house and all that, they all have insurance.
Okay. And that indemnified the
the-
town?
I
Mhm.
don't have any binders on that.
No, but, I mean, they exist.
Yeah, there's certificates for all of them. And
For all the
then
other insurances?
For the bouncy house. The
Yeah.
bouncy house company emailed them to us when we were looking at other insurance companies, so I have those.
Okay.
Callahan Tent, is it? Who's your tent company?
It is Callahan.
yeah.
Do they have one as well?
They do. Yes.
To the town of Berlin.
I thought. It just says they're insured. Hold on.
And I do have to say that this was also co-sponsored by Rec last year.
Right,
or
yeah,
was
and we
any of
used
this,
them
and
last year, so.
Just take a quick
Yep,
picture.
it's
there
Yeah,
was
so
no
right here,
issue
it would
with
say Town
any
of Berlin.
the certificates or any of the.
Okay. So we can get that from them.
And what was the other one? Bounce House.
Yes, I have that in.
And do we
the
request
emails.
these for the fishing derby? Do we request things for the tent, insurance for the
derby has
tents and everything
vendors.
else? They have tents, they have grills, they have all kinds of stuff.
I'm not sure what the building inspector
I
does.
think
but-
we're,
Yeah, but the building inspector isn't sitting here requesting insurance certificates, we are. So I just want to make sure that if we're requesting certificates from them, they actually need to produce them.
if you
Because
could
we're not
send copies
asking
to
for them
us,
from
that'd be all
anyone
right. That'd be
else.
fine. I don't see any issue really.
So if we can get copies of everything to you tomorrow, I mean,
Sure.
does there have to be another meeting
No.
for? Okay.
No, we could take a vote pending the information being sent to the office here.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you for all your hard work, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
There's a seat at the table for the pie eating contest, just saying.
You know what? I'm gonna pass. I have to. Yeah, I have to keep time for the
It's gonna
pie
be
eating
a- it's gonna be a
contest.
fun
So.
time, just saying.
Yep. Nope. I stand on the sidelines. Don't worry. I got covered in pie last year, though.
The Stones.
I mean, I do like pie, but maybe next year.
All right, hold to that, Kristen.
You know, she married into that too, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's only been a year.
Doesn't
so.
matter.
Oh,
You're one of us now, it doesn't matter. Okay.
all right. So pending the information getting to the office tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I need a town representative to sign the firework contract.
Okay. That would be.
That would be
you.
nice.
As property owner?
We wanted it made out to the town of Berlin, so Berlin needs to sign.
I wasn't sure if I qualified as a
Kristen
town
can't sign for us.
representative.
What are you signing, Chris? Are you signing that?
So I had signed a copy of that when it was made out to our group
Mm-hmm.
for payment and stuff, so they already have that on file, but because it's now a town event, they wanted the town to sign off on it.
Okay. postponement, cancellation. So they're gonna be responsible for cleanup?
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm one of the customers, correct? Today is the
24th.
Oops. Okay. Now, can we get a copy of this too? Do you want to make a copy,
I can run out.
Mary? And then you can have that one back.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, thank you.
So the balance due is already satisfied?
It's not due until a month after.
Okay.
But we will
The deposit was
take
paid.
care of it.
Yeah.
So we just signed as a co-customer for the balance due.
Looks like your average document.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks again, we appreciate all your help with this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the
It'll
weather's
be
gonna
fun.
hold out. It will be.
Yeah. I haven't looked at the weather on purpose. Don't say anything. I'm not
It's
looking.
going to snow 85
I'm not.
feet of
I'm not
snow.
looking. I don't want to
There's
know.
a typhoon coming through.
Yeah.
All good.
Yep. We checked it 6 months ago and it was fine, so it should be fine.
Just check the Farmer's Almanac because, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't really want to know until I have to know.
Okay.
I'm just holding off. Do we stay here?
No, you're
No, you're
Okay.
good. Yeah, make sure you get the form back to
Yep.
Mary, that'd be
Okay.
great.
And please take a zucchini. A zucchini at the door.
Only in
But you
Berlin.
have to come back
Yeah,
and
that's right.
have it
Only in
as
Berlin.
zucchini.
Yeah,
Everybody's
totally.
taking a zucchini.
Yes,
For the 10th.
yes.
Can I get your email address so I can send you copies once I have the town list of it?
Sure, let me give you my copy. You can just send it to that. Biggest thing that I'm going to be looking for is the frontage by writing on the tents.
Okay, I'll try and find that out.
Yeah, that's going to be key.
Okay.
So, all right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
I'm guessing you've done Callahan's before in town though? Yeah, it's Callahan's.
Yeah, they're pretty standard, so shouldn't be hard.
All right. Do we have anybody from Town Management Study Committee here?
They're probably still, I can go grab them, they're probably still going over the document down there.
Well, unless we want to just wait and we'll start when
I mean,
they get here.
They know,
Let them finish.
They're coming, they're just,
Okay.
they're going line by line over and making sure the KP and,
There were an awful lot of
changes.
lines, weren't there?
there were a lot of lines.
It's a lot
Yes,
that
there
don't
were.
match. Yeah.
So let's see. We don't have any appointments tonight, correct?
There's those two.
Oh, no, the actual appointments to boards and committees, no.
Right. So do we want to start in on the, is there anybody here that maybe we'd like to let go home? We could-
Mr. Joe,
Joe.
the cease and desist.
No.
Oh, and personnel,
This person,
I can put it in.
They're
if you wanna
here.
Take them first.
you're here for the,
oh, there,
that thing.
Here's town management.
All right, come on up. We're
Who's
awaiting.
coming up?
Anybody who, the Town Management Study Committee. Sorry.
We got to the whole thing.
Did the rest of it go a little bit faster? Or?
And we've got a couple things we're gonna have to.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so do we want to look at, have you I assume, change the document now since you've had your meeting, or?
Yes, what we
Okay.
just spent 2 hours doing was taking we used the act that Naughton sent back as the starting point, and then looked at the changes that had been recommended by KP and made a decision about whether or not we thought it was important, and if what Naughton's office had done had actually changed the intent. There were
Significant.
no.
Actually, KP's actually changed the structuring and formatting of
There's a
what we
lot of
originally-
structural
what we
issues.
originally did, and Naughton's office felt they were fine, so in some cases we put back things that we had changed.
From
Right.
from looking at KP laws?
Yeah, but we kept a few of their suggestions as well, so,
Okay.
I don't know, Beth.
Yeah, we worked very hard to get the, did you have a question?
Oh, I just said, you've seen everything that's in there,
Yeah.
just in different places and,
Right.
yeah, but everything that's in
So
there,
now,
you should have seen at
it
some
has,
point.
it has 10 sections now, there are no headers, there are numbers instead of letters, all the capitalization got totally changed. At least all the lawyers agreed that all of our capitalization was wrong, so we felt pretty good.
Pretty good?
That piece was consistent.
If,
We're not allowed to capitalize
these are
anything.
all the changes.
I
Yeah,
know.
there were, you
I ran
saw.
them off thinking
Yes.
that, you know,
I wish I didn't. I
Yes.
probably ruined the printer cartridge.
right.
But it's mainly formatting.
Well, I know, and I think actually, you know, we could have probably done that here before you sent it off, but we didn't get a chance to see it first.
But we wouldn't have time either, so I
No,
mean.
Well, yeah, I
we were
mean,
at
we're-
the very,
If
these came
we had done
Friday
it in that
night.
way, we wouldn't even be done today, I
Yeah.
don't think, so, unfortunately.
So we kept, there were, when we were told by one or the other lawyer that, you don't need this, unless they both told us we didn't need it, we left it in. So there is potentially some redundancy. For instance, all the places we excluded the school board, KP was like, you don't need this, take it out. Naughton's office didn't say to take it out. So we left it in on the assumption that it doesn't hurt anything for it to be there.
Are there reasons why KP wanted it to be taken out?
They just said it was unnecessary. KP was
They were
very
questioning
interested in
about
making it shorter.
regionalization.
And regionalization and streamlining.
And streamlining the whole thing. Naughton's office didn't seem to be as concerned about shrinking the physical size.
Okay.
So
of
they
the
did
thing.
have similar sort of feedbacks on a lot of things. They just implemented them differently.
Yeah.
One change that came from June, not from any lawyers, under appointing the department heads for the powers that were enumerated of the board. June pointed out that the building inspector doesn't actually appoint anybody themselves, unlike fire, unlike the library, and unlike the people under the jurisdiction of the school committee. They recommend people to you all for your approval, as do many of the
Okay.
other offices.
Yeah.
So
Just like the
they got
assistant
removed
tax
from that
collector.
list.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks to June for reading that and catching it.
But that intent, as far as, I mean, everything that we talked to you about, I would say, when we first met, it didn't really change anything. It was just clarifying that stuff. So it's boiled down to what we feel is accurate based on how it runs.
So will we be able to see a copy of your combined changes before it goes to the next step?
Yes, I need to finish writing up my notes. There are two things we need clarification from lawyers on, including, it is unclear, no one seems to understand that we've done this slightly out of order, and so we expect to send this to the legislature once we have town approval. And so we believe all we are waiting for is them. They keep striking out themselves as approvers and keep talking about this takes effect
Just
upon
town meeting. Right?
town meeting.
Yeah,
And
I
if
know-
that's true,
Yeah.
that
That we're all
changes
set.
everything. Well,
You know,
we have
I'm
more
not
work to
sure that's what that means, but
well,
okay.
it speeds up our timeline in a lot of ways, potentially.
Yes, it would if that's true.
Right. Yeah, so
Which
we
would be
just want the
huge.
clarification.
You know.
because-
But I think in order for, the process here is, in order for it to get on the special town meeting warrant, I think we need to approve it too, as a board.
So we will have these, well, we'll have these, I mean, we'll have the changes marked out, and so you all will get this tomorrow. One of the things we did, you'll notice, we worked really hard to make sure the board had appropriate authority all the way through to appoint an interim as necessary. And
Yeah,
so there had been, in the original draft you guys had, there was a gap, and the way it was written, the board would have to wait 30 days, and that didn't, before you could act, and so we fixed that.
So we fixed that.
So you guys have that.
So, can it,
Do you have specific questions?
yeah, whenever you're ready.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Okay, so, do you have questions too, Peg?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm still a little confused or unclear on that language that I think we talked about when Peg and I met with you.
Which language?
The board shall, and I think it was the appointments. I want to make sure it's clear enough that someone's not going to argue if we have an issue with the town administrator. I want to make sure that it doesn't mean the building inspector, that it means his
Right.
appointees.
So the way this is currently written, it says, appoint the department heads, town council and joint appointments, except those except, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things listed.
Just read above.
Those positions elected by the voters, those positions appointed by the town moderator, the chief of the fire and EMS department of the town, the library trustees of the town, or those positions under the jurisdiction of the school committee. And then
So the building inspector's out.
the building
Is out,
inspector is out.
right.
Yes, building inspector left that. And then there's you guys can still make appointments for temporary posts and committees and all the special stuff, the ad hoc stuff you guys create. And if any other appointing authority does not take appropriate action
Yeah.
to fill something, you guys get that after 90 days.
Right.
Did that answer your question?
I'm just sort of wondering whether KP or Naughton's office read it the way I did the first time and thought, oh, okay, they're not going to appoint the building inspector. And so that's why I'm a little concerned that it's not that clear. You know what I'm saying? Because particularly Naughton's office didn't even
Appoint the town.
have anything, I don't remember if they had anything to say about that
So you're
particular
concerned
one.
that's not considered a department head? Is that,
No, I'm
where's the hole, I guess?
as long as you guys, I guess, and when it's not redlined anymore, and it reads smoothly and is clear, that's fine with me.
Okay. Well, hopefully you will find this clear.
Yes, once we're through. So I'm still concerned about that, because of course, when you read all the redline stuff, and
Oh,
now you've taken out the
Eyes
building
bleed.
inspector, so that changes it a little bit. That was probably the one that I was more concerned with, because it didn't make sense.
Exactly. It did not make sense.
Then there was, it's hard to tell what section we're on, too. Section 3, I think on the one that town council had a comment.
This is
Right.
Do you see the comment from town council? I can even show it to you.
which,
Here, take one. So you want the personnel responsibilities of the town administrator, that section?
No, it was the
one here.
comment that says, "This appears to provide the town meeting with authority to establish qualifications."
We changed that to make it the board.
Okay. Okay.
What does it say now, Beth? Can you
It
provide
says
that?
qualifications, like, just literally instead of town, it says board. As
Okay.
it's not
You
in
just
that place
substituted.
anymore. Yeah, we
Right.
did, but we added, no, we were like, oh yeah, she's totally right.
Yeah. I mean, my comment here is I would agree with town council on this.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why we
That
send
was
it
one of
to
the
That's
things,
why we
that
done
was
it.
one of the things that.
Well, you know, it should go to the board too. It's really important that the board approve it. That's why we're having a town meeting.
Well, I think
You all
that
got
my
the same
concern,
version that-
when I hear you say that is that it feels like we tried to circumvent you, and I think that the point was we
I
tried to do.
have felt
Right.
actually a little bit out of the loop on this.
Right, and I think-
Because I think sometimes things don't come back to the entire board.
Right, and I think that that's just the way that the process works, and working with them as Lisa as the liaison, I don't think that this committee's intent has ever been to leave the board out. We felt it was necessary to keep you in power and do them all at the same time, or we wouldn't even be sitting in front of you today and met the town meeting deadline, so I
Well, we've
don't.
only met like 3 times, I think, since the whole process started as a group, in a posted meeting where we can give you feedback, I guess, so.
Well, we're at where we're at. I mean, I don't think that there's any intent, I think we haven't felt that we've had a final version, and so.
Well, I kind of hoped
started at
that
the
we
same
would be a
time.
part of maybe making this a final version and giving input.
Well,
So, I mean, here, now I'm going to give you input on things that you may have already discussed and changed, so.
Well, as Naughton's office gave us input on things that had already been discussed and
Friday,
changed
I'm
on
not
Friday. I
sure.
mean, we've kind of.
Well, I don't
you
think
know.
we've ever sent anything to Naughton's office, and I'm pretty confident that AP Laws, Lauren, has done this many times, so, I wasn't too, worried about that. So, Peg, did you have any other ones? Because I don't know whether I...
Well, I think I'm getting weedy, and again, this is my instructional design background that, when I see comments, deemed necessary or expedient, that I want a definition about that. But again, I realize it might not be, this is not the proper place for it, but maybe, that type of discussion. When you talk about, again, getting in the weedies about the committee, being town employees, residents, et cetera, it's like, well, what's the definition? What's the checklist? Who's gonna, who are you going to decide who gets on it? Is it a popularity contest? I mean, so it's those types of things
Those
that I
are all
think.
decided outside of the
Okay.
special act.
the reason that they recommended us being vague there is that if we put it in the special act with a lot of detail that you're asking about,
Yep.
then you would be held to that, even if that.
Okay.
So it gives you flexibility that basically says it expects that the town's people and employees are involved in the process, but it lets the Board of Selectmen define that process when the time comes. So if it needs to shift over time,
All right.
it's better.
I mean, I'll wait till we get the final version back, because again, if changes are already made and they already answer the questions that I have, it's kind of silly. There was one typo, and Beth, I don't even know if you're gonna be able to find it.
This one,
More
I
than
think
one
I-
typo.
Yeah, it's in the KP one, other, yeah, there you go.
Which,
It was under
F.
personnel responsibilities of the town administrator, and you scoot down to F, where it
be
says,
responsible for the supervision, management, evaluation, and
Keep
discipline
going.
of other town employees appointed by the administrator of the board, blah, blah, blah. Perform the annual performance evaluations of the department heads and overseeing the performance evaluation program.
Over-
in
Overseeing.
overs? Is it overs or others? or-
That is over, it should be overseeing.
Okay,
Is the
And
word
has it
that should
been
be there.
corrected?
Yes,
all right.
Okay.
and
All right, I mean, then I'll wait. And again, I don't want to take up the board's time, I don't want to take up your time by nitpicky things that you may have already covered, that I'll wait until we get the complete version and can just do a compare of all 3 docs.
are
Did you
all
have any
the-
questions?
No.
Are you all the people to ask about, can we request that Lauren be our counsel at town meeting? Since if any questions come up about this, she's the one who knows this best.
I think I had asked someone to come who had to do with the marijuana.
Oh, to get the person who
that's-
knows the marijuana.
Okay.
Too bad it's not her, is it?
I don't know who's finally going to be.
It
It was
is.
Catherine that
Yeah.
was
Yeah, I'm not sure.
maybe going to come, or was going to check if she could come, because there was such an issue with that too.
Sure.
But I can let you know when we know.
I mean, if
certain-
it kind of doesn't matter. I mean, if she's there, great. That's really
Yeah.
useful. And if not,
Yeah, if it didn't make a
it's-
difference which council was there, but if there's a more pressing
Well, I think
issue, then
once
by
we
all
get,
means, yeah.
we're all
marijuana
on the
may be
same
more-
page, and we're all agreeing with, what's going forward.
I mean,
Then
we're
it's
just as
not gonna
frustrated,
be-
you know, we've tried to keep you in the loop and, you know, if we.
I think it just,
feel like having-
you
yeah.
know, don't feel free to email all of us, you know? So,
Okay.
And then regarding is there anything else on this? You'll get this back tomorrow morning. Or
I don't know, I had circled school department, which is right underneath that overseeing. And I don't
was that
remember
just
why
about
I circled
thinking
it.
maybe we don't need it? Which
Why did
maybe
you
we
cross
don't.
it out?
Maybe why?
You know, if you crossed it out, then maybe,
Maybe.
let's see what it says. Administers the personnel bylaw and collective
Trying to
bargaining
call out
I
agreement.
mean, if
Other
you have
things-
specifics, it's good for us to address them now, so we give you a clean one. So if there's
Right.
any- So if there
And
is
that's why I
anything really
wanted to do
outstanding-
this.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you want to send what you have, Beth, and I make some copies for the board to look at what you're looking at? Because they can't see what you just did down the hallway for the past 2 hours.
Right, but it's not done yet. I need to write up. There are several places we need clarification from the lawyers, and I'll make a clean copy, and so everybody can have it. What time is it?
This has to be
Tomorrow morning.
posted by Monday, and it has to be in everyone's homes by Monday. So it needs to go to town council for
Right.
final
Well-
review and be printed.
I also, Representative Naughton did say that if we needed any clarification on
Is that maybe like a
some of
phone
this,
call tomorrow
I
morning,
might be able to
hopefully.
make a phone call and get that
would be
tomorrow.
I believe there's one question for I think there's one question for KP and one question for Naughton.
So what's the question for KP? And then my follow-up question, what's the question for Naughton?
The question for Naughton is about the last.
The last question is about the procedural.
About the
as far as
procedural,
is
because
it
they
just town-
scratch
Which,
approval by the legislature. They just say this act takes effect upon
yeah,
approval
and KP,
by.
I believe, did the same thing.
And they did exactly the same thing, so.
Because they wanted it
The only
to
other
take
one
effect
was.
Well, which is-
on-
And we're fine.
But we do
with
send
that.
everything to town council, like we
Right.
just said, anyway.
Yeah.
The whole
but that was-
entire warrant.
That was a recommendation from them, from both of them, so.
Don't have my note here. What was it that we wanted
It was
from KP?
it was under the administrators, but the financial control part, they renumbered everything. You're looking at which one?
Naughton's.
Oh, okay, so it's part 7, section 6, number 7. It says review and advise the board on all warrants.
Yes.
I know, it's like.
Okay.
So we like the KP actually had a much cleaner.
Actually, if you write these little questions.
Had a much cleaner writing of that part. So it didn't reference the treasurer and stuff like that. So we thought the intent was the same, but we just wanted to make sure that by accepting KP's, that was the question for Naughton, that it wasn't going
That's the other question for
to,
Naughton.
change the intent in any way, because we know that's a pretty serious issue about that. But it just seemed like it made a lot more sense the way that KP was suggesting it, so we just wanted to make sure
I'm going to be honest with you, I would go with KP.
that's what we wanted to do too. So there was that, and there was, I think, the section before we changed slightly too. So there were a few parts we just thought the wording was cleaner, so we picked it out that way. But by and large, I would say that there weren't really any serious changes of it. It was just really shuffling stuff around about the one part, the KP had just turned it, the whole section, I think, about qualifications or approval. They sort of split it out, so we just sort of put it back because they felt that was the more expedient. So, and again, the other part too is, when we pulled this from towns that actually had gotten them approved by the legislature. So that's why in some ways we were like, all right, we'll kind of go back to the other way.
Oh,
So-
speaking, I pilfered a job description for you. Lisa has it. Oh, there you go. You can take that back with you. Ripped it right out of the magazine for a town description for you. Job
Oh, Pepperell.
description. Yep.
Okay, accountant. I have this pile.
Well, yeah, but there's one on top for the town
Yeah, yeah.
administrator. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not quite sure why I had the school department in.
I think
Maybe it was just
It was just because
negotiations, and I think I talked to you about how usually there's a Board of Selectmen member who is a part of negotiations.
I think that was How did I remember that? I think that it was more written in their procedures versus
Yes.
this. So it's not, because I did ask the school committee member that I know about that. And
Yeah.
they said they were going to look at, I think it's more the tradition of how
Yes.
they ran. It's their policies and procedures. It's not this, so it didn't need to be here per se.
Right, and even though Boylston has a town administrator, they still have a Board of Selectmen member who does negotiations when it's Boylston's turn.
Yeah, I think that they said that that's something that's...
I mean, I think we could still do that, I just didn't want to have this get in the way.
I don't think it would. Shouldn't. It excluded it, right? And the point that you're pointing
I'm
at.
pretty sure it did.
Everything we pretty much
Implementation
was excluding.
With respect to the school, except with respect to the school department.
So it's basically meaning that they don't get involved and the town administrator doesn't get
Okay.
involved with that.
Right,
But they can certainly involve you. That's their decision.
all right,
I do remember that conversation.
yep. Okay. Is there something else we were going to talk about, the other warrant
The
article?
warrant. The 5,000.
So the, we want to get this process moving as quickly as possible. If we wait until, we believe if we wait until May and proper budget approval for next year, we will lose more than 6 months. This is a 3 to 4 month process to hire somebody. And with town meetings in the fall, town administrators don't turn over around town meeting time, right? People, it's a cycle, right, like everything else. So our recommendation is to hire a search firm and start this process.
As soon as it's approved, so whether it's
Or-
the legislature or...
And there's work,
whatever it
and
is.
there's plenty of
So you
work that can be
act.
done
Yeah.
even before the approval. Things like the profile of the town and all of they'll be the ones who finalize it. I mean, the job descriptions we're writing and the position description are just starting points. They'll do,
Right.
a search committee will do all kinds of fact finding and build those, as well as,
Or the consultant, is what you said.
What did I say?
You said search committee.
I mean consultant, I meant consultant, but the search committee can be put together, particularly if trying to hire over the summer, like everyone will disappear and it'll be really difficult to get a group of people
Right,
Yeah.
to work on that. So the more pieces that are in place, then once there is approval, then
we
that
we
can,
wouldn't have money for salary until July 1.
until July 1.
Right, but that would-
But if the hire is, and of course anyone we're hiring, we want somebody with experience. Likely they have to give notice and maybe move or make arrangements or whatever, so.
So you wouldn't have if it didn't get approved at this meeting, then you wouldn't necessarily have those funds to be able to start that process with the consultant who could probably advise you on what's the salary range and all, what's everything you should be asking for at town meetings, so that as soon as it's approved and all that point with the budget and benefit and all that other stuff, then you'd be able to move forward and advertise right after that. If you don't have the ability to hire a consultant in advance of that, assuming this all goes through and is approved, then, so that's why we want to just be able to put that so that you would have the funds to, make those decisions
Get started.
and hire a consultant, and
So it's really truly up to us whether we want
it is.
Yeah.
Correct.
to. I didn't, I mean, we wanted to hear why.
Yeah, it's really for your benefit. We were
Right.
just thinking about if these funds aren't, if you're not able to hire a consultant in advance of May 2019, then you're going to lose all that time of being able to, and it probably would make it harder to actually prepare for that search, because you're putting a
Five-
budget in, not necessarily
Well, I
having
guess the
that guidance.
timing, when you go out to hire that particular type of person, if you knew when would be the best time to go out, that would be,
Right.
that would be helpful. However, if it's just a matter of let's hurry up and do it. I mean,
Yeah, I
we've been
don't think
doing this way for so long, it's like,
Yeah, I don't
What's
think
a
it's a
couple of
matter of
months?
hurry up and do it. I just felt like, looking at the process, looking at, once you have approval, that there's a lot of, you have the job description to finalize, you have, to decide if you want to hire a consultant, there's that whole
Oh, most
process.
likely.
Which might take a few months, so this probably may not come back from the legislature till February anyway, so it's only gonna buy you a couple months, but if you could get, if you choose a firm and they advise you on salary, it might help make that process better to make sure the right salary's in the budget, then and have backup for when you go to town meeting as to why that salary's, I mean, we just gave you guesstimates.
Right.
Based on what we did as a survey of other towns in the areas, and those were even a couple years old. So, you know, we think that that's the reason we were recommending, that will be part of the ultimate recommendation is, you know, to hire a consultant, because it just gives you better access to the pool of candidates. They know who's
Yep.
out there, just like when this
The
school-
fire, the police.
Yeah, in the school committee,
I
they
know.
hired a consultant to help with
Superintendent
the
of
superintendent. It's
schools.
the same
Yep.
concept, it's a huge position, so it was just if, you know, so you would have the funds to do that in advance.
Yeah.
So,
The total cost would run anywhere from 6 to 16,000.
that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna ask, where the 5 come from.
Yeah, and on top of that, you'd have possibly advertising expenses,
Oh, yeah.
travel expenses if we have
Yeah,
a candidate from a ways away.
So the five,
You get a menu from a recruiter. Right? I mean, they'd even write a special act.
so I think that's, so that's.
You don't like
Which
this one?
would be on that.
So that's sort of where the
So that
five,
saves some money right
the
there.
5 came from, was we were looking at those and felt like we'd already done a portion of that. So in looking at them, there's a portion of work that would have to get done in preparing you to get ready for the actual advertising of the position, and then there's a portion thereafter. So there might be a small portion now that you would approve, you know, ask for at this town meeting to start that process, and then in May ask for whatever that consultant would tell you is the budget for advertising and whatever else there would be at that point. So we just felt a portion of the $6,000 to $10,000 or $12,000.
Okay. All right.
So the 5,000 is a guesstimate, based on
overall.
best information
Yeah.
available, and.
And that's to start the process.
Correct,
Not
to start.
Because advertising and developing and printing materials and all that stuff is
Right.
expensive, so we would,
So we could be short, but we may have something to get going, and
that's the
so.
idea to get going.
I'm wondering, just because it's a warrant and it stays open, whether we want to put a, if we're going to do this, which we haven't decided yet, but if we were going to do this, if we wanted to look at a larger amount, just because it gives you more room to maneuver.
Well, we can talk about that when we get to the special
Yeah.
town meeting warrant.
Sorry,
And-
Peg.
Oh, that's fine, Wayne. And then the consultants, do you have a list?
Yeah, we have one. How many do you have? 4?
5.
5.
5, okay.
Some of them are just names, some of them are people we actually
Yeah.
sort of reached out to and said, hey, how much does it cost? You know,
I like
what
that.
can you do for
Hey.
us?
So when you retain this consultant now at the front end, are they gonna be barred from bidding on the final search process later? Are they gonna be, there's 2 steps to this. A consultant who helps queue everything up, and then there's gonna be a consultant later that you use to
No.
actually.
It would be
No,
the same,
same
you'd have
one.
one hire to
So
do
what's
both
the
pieces
total
of the
package?
process.
The total package is 6 to 16,000?
Yeah.
Well, then you would get written bids if it's over 10,000. If we're really thinking down the road that it's more than 10,000, you'd get 3 written quotes from
Right.
people.
Right. I think, you know, we looked at it, and based on what, because I didn't have the conversations, but based on what they had reported was that it's sort of a la carte. So, you know, you'd have to almost talk to some of them to understand,
What
to help
they are.
you understand
Yeah.
what's the scope of what you want to put on to go out to a bid and have them finally bid on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of challenging in that way.
Should be treated with 3 written bids then, because if you do expect that this could go over 10, it sounds like it easily could go over 10, then it should be treated as 10 and up.
Yeah, but I think it needs some initial conversation. So I think
Well, we're doing the same.
Yeah.
We're doing the same with our chief and.
Yeah, so what we would give you is that list to help a sample job description, which the consultant might have, but at least,
Well,
you know,
Beth has one now.
right? And then, and then you have another
One
one.
of many.
And then also, based on stuff that we've seen, like an estimated like hiring like process. I mean, using a consultant, but even like talking through some of those steps. So that point is just recommendations. The execution is really up to the board based on that and based on what's in the act. So,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
tomorrow, yeah.
Because this is what we, you know, something I got preliminary. List of the fees, list of the timeline, and then others have given you a list of towns they've worked with and where they've hired town administrators.
Can you share that with us too?
Oh, yeah, that's.
The whole thing,
Yeah.
we got a whole
We'll get
packet
this.
for
No,
you guys.
no binders, no binders, just little PDFs. No.
We'll scan it all in,
There you go.
Yeah.
Page by page?
page by page,
Okay.
just to make it interesting.
Thank you. Single line, you know,
Nothing numbered.
binders with the margins in,
Yeah.
like college.
There you go.
Okay. I think
Anything else for us?
That's all our questions, or?
Thank you. No, again,
Please, thank you for
appreciate all
coming.
your work, keeping us in the loop.
Trying. So,
We'll find you.
that's right.
If you have questions you need me to ask, or you want to get on a call with me, or...
I'll send you an email and you can decide if you need clarification or whatever tomorrow morning. I'm free enough to answer phone calls.
Well, can you let us know, the board know, if you're gonna make phone calls to KP Law?
I'm not gonna call KP Law.
I thought that's what you're just talking about.
That is not what I was talking about. I'm not gonna call KP Law. I would
Okay.
call Representative Naughton because he offered to clarify if there were any questions.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, if he's the one shepherding it through, I think that just makes sense, you know, so. Cool.
All right.
Thanks, Wayne.
Yep.
Can we scoot up
Can we
like that
go?
one? Can we go on the border?
Personnel.
Best practices request HR consultant.
Well, so we don't make
Sure,
Claire and Tommy
absolutely. Is that all
wait.
right with you, Lisa?
Fine.
Okay. Come on up.
Thanks for taking us.
Hey, I put you on the PowerPoint presentation. What do you want?
Thanks, thank you.
You're welcome. Gotcha.
So, I don't have any data on this, but you want to...
It was in, I mean, it was in an email. The only reason that I asked if you might want to come, because I know there were, what, 5, I think, items that we could possibly enlist the help of, and I zoned in on the HR consultant, given that I think that's the area that we need
Now,
the biggest help in. Didn't know if you had any questions, concerns, feelings about ABS trying to go after that one.
Yeah, I know too, town management also thought 1 and 2, because their feeling was based on all the people that they had talked to that our HR was the one that really needed the help, and the financial policies and practices were in much better shape.
Which one was one?
One was also, it was wage classification and plan,
Okay,
which we
yeah.
talked about numerous times.
we've talked about that
Job
already.
descriptions, employee grades, etc.
Okay.
Right.
So I think,
And will this group be getting back to us? I read the letter and everything, and it says to please reach out to us, or should we be reaching out to them? What was your thought on that, Chris, when you...
Was there a date by which we needed to?
You sent this on September 10th, but it just says, while this is a long list, we feel that progress is being made. We're eager to hear your comments and recommendations on how to move forward with these. We can be reached as stated below, so I just
So
wasn't
the
sure.
state responded that the town has to pick 2 of those 5 points. Do you have Sean Cronin's letter? Is that, or do you have the town's letter to the
Yes,
state?
that's what I was
That's the
looking.
town's letter to the state.
That's correct.
Not Sean Cronin's response.
No, I haven't
Okay.
seen, I haven't seen that.
Sean Cronin's response said that the town needs to pick 2 of 5
here,
points.
Right.
So then a 1 and a 2. So then do we just need to get back to him?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Who's we? Mary? You? Them?
Does it specify?
No,
I can do it too.
Personnel?
if you want.
Personnel committee?
Or you
No.
do it.
Yeah, I can. I just, we need to determine which ones we think are the most, like you said, I think position
If you can pick 2.
classification.
Yes.
One
and
Personnel
two.
wage and
1 and
job
2.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
classification.
There's no,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then they can.
Nope. Probably no question that 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Okay, 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the other 3 are all financial
Thank you.
ones.
Thanks, Mary.
And you, Claire.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Do you want your computer back?
Yes. It's handy though, huh?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I need the letters a little bigger though, please.
Or the glasses.
Glasses.
Wait a minute.
Glasses, because I can't see that at all.
Peg likes 8 font. Peg likes the tiny things.
I noticed all four of you are wearing them.
Mm-hmm. All right, so, does it say?
Is this?
So Mary, would you be getting back to him,
I
or
can if the board would like
would
me
that
to.
work for you?
Mhm.
That would be great. Okay. And,
Then we'll just figure out next steps from there on
yes,
what exactly they can
We
do.
can
and-
discuss that through the
Mm.
Personnel Committee and
So
with,
there is an application that was attached to that email, but I think it's just probably designated.
okay.
Yes. Borough.
Yeah, that's the,
I don't think it was
What
an
we
application.
discussed. Is it?
no,
Kind
it's,
of? I don't
no,
remember
it's
one.
the,
No, I think it's just
the grids, the.
Yeah, but, yeah, okay. That's what I meant. I didn't know the correct word.
See, I'm keeping you busy just in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
No, that's great, if there's any help.
Yeah, if
out
there's any
there,
help
I mean,
that-
instead of
yeah.
reinventing the wheel, let's go for it.
Exactly.
Let's,
Yeah, we're kind
uh,
of on a square wheel.
at
It's
least-
starting to turn around though.
Well, get things ready for the town meeting.
Well, you know, and the thing is too, is that, you know, a policy is a policy is a policy. It may vary minimally, but the basis of it, it's gonna be the same.
Correct.
And considering all the ones that we have are 10-plus years old, we need to,
Update a lot.
a little bit.
Oh, okay, great, thank you. All right,
Okay.
I think we're good on that.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll
good.
copy you all on that.
Thank you, Miss Mary.
Thank you.
And Tim Wheeler.
Okay, yes,
the town
that's right.
manager.
Okay, any
Okay.
other questions you have for us?
Yeah, it's
Besides
also,
good luck?
Jim was also involved as CMRPC
Right.
representative. That's,
I think we both, wasn't that the document that both of us signed, correct?
yeah.
To send off to the state, yes,
Yes,
but you and Tim
yes.
signed, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you, ladies.
In case it needs to be so voted, do you want to so vote that you're going to seek out the grants under numbers 1 and 2?
Motion to
So,
approve.
so moved?
Seconded?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right,
Do we want to move up Joe to number 7?
or Paul,
Or Paul?
whichever. Who would
You
like to
guys
go
want to do
first?
rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first, or?
And Dave?
You're younger and better looking than me, so you go first.
Oh,
Thanks, Chief. How are you guys tonight?
Good.
Good.
All right. Cease and desist fines.
Yes. So, in Chapter 143 of the Mass General Laws, it addresses fines and fees for stop work orders and things of that nature. So cease and desist and stop work order are used interchangeably. They mean the same thing.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to a stop work order for, say, somebody violating a decision by the planning board or the ZBA, or say even myself, say somebody's doing some work and it's unsafe or whatever, I can put a cease and desist on them or a stop work order and say, okay, I give it to you verbally, everybody stops, everybody off the site right now until we figure this out. I have to follow it up within 48 hours in writing, and give it to the responsible party, whether it be the owner or the contractor or whoever the responsible party is. Right now, we don't have any fines assessed for any of this sort of stuff. The other thing is, when it comes down to doing site work and things like that, it also falls under the building code for safeguards and grading and filling and things of that nature. So the only thing that's a little difficult about this, and I know there was a question on whether or not it should be put on my fee schedule or not, but it's not a fee so much as it's a fine.
Right.
You know, for violating the law per se. You know what I mean? So it can be issued technically by 3 boards. It can be issued by myself for violating a planning board decision, ZBA decision, or general building code issue. And as a zoning enforcement officer, that's why I can oversee the planning board and ZBA. Conservation can issue it if somebody's filling in wetlands or doing something that they shouldn't be. And the same thing with Earthwork Board, if somebody gives you a permit or something to do 100 cubic yards and they're doing 10,000, well, wait a second, time out, we need to reevaluate this. So those are the three particular areas where one of these can be used.
Okay.
In the law, it gives an opportunity for reasonable fees to be applied to this type of situation for a fine. It can be as low as $50 or as high as $1,000 a day. In my experience, if you put $1,000 a day on somebody, it's going to shut down their project completely. And if you go $50 a day, they don't care. What's $50? But when you put a fine to say, $250 or somewhere around there, that kind of makes them say, wait a second, time out. We need to fix this, because if I tell somebody to stop work and they continue, well, now we just start tacking on the days, and how fast does 250 become 1,000 and so on?
Right.
So that usually will catch their attention and make them stop doing the work. So we need some sort of way to assess that fine. It's usually put into a bylaw as part of a fines or fees ticketing type setup. It can be addressed with the soils that we're proposing, if you wanted to do an amendment to that, and say that you can put it in there, or the other route
You
that
could
you can
add
go.
that part, the cease and desist, to.
Well, the cease and desist
earth
is
removal?
Mass general law.
Mass General Law, right?
Right, but the fee part,
The fine itself.
cost.
So the fine itself is already designed into Mass General Law.
Okay, so we don't have to choose, we can just.
Right, you can just
vote
vote
to
upon it
choose.
this evening if you wanted to.
Right.
And say, from this point forward, pick a date, whatever, and say, from this point forward, this is the fine assessed per day if work continues past the cease and desist, stop work order is issued.
Do we have to give any notification for those folks who are like chugging along now and doing work, and all of a sudden you come up to them tomorrow and be like, stop, 250, fork it over?
No, it's an immediate. So the
Okay.
250 isn't assessed until they penalize themselves.
Right, but I'm just
Yeah.
concerned that if they say, well, Joe, I didn't know about this, how can you fine me for something that I wasn't aware
And
of?
you
I just want to make sure
Mass
that
general law and
there's.
say,
Yeah.
Right, it was just,
you
Okay.
were
right, it just had to be voted
right
upon
here.
the board to
The
say.
number has to be boarded
Yeah.
by
Okay.
Yeah.
the board.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's
Okay.
it's in
Yes.
chapter 143.
Yeah.
It's right there.
All
So-
these folks that are doing the big projects certainly are familiar with.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah, yeah. It's typically the people that pull or don't pull a permit, and they're in there working, and then you go in and you say, wait a second, time out. Now, see, I have a fee in there for starting work without a permit, which is double the permit fee.
Right.
However, if I tell you, wait a second, you need to get a permit fee, and it's going to be double the permit fee, and you ignore me and you keep working, well, I've just given you a stop work order. Now I can tack on the fine for continuing to work and just saying,
Right.
you want to do what you want to do,
Okay.
So
then taking this forward, once we vote on a number, what are next steps? Do those need to be worked out? I mean, you collect the money, we collect the money.
Well, that's
June
where I was
collects the
gonna
money.
ask.
I just
Yeah.
bucket it.
Yeah, so it's typically like a general fund.
Okay.
There's no special account for it or anything like that, and it's non-refundable. It's,
Okay. So it's a check made out to the town.
of Berlin, and that's it. Deposit into the general fund.
Does that work for you?
Yeah. it's
Do we
just
need
general.
to, there was a lot of talk about making you the enforcement officer. Do we need to do something specific to make you the enforcement officer on
Well,
that,
if
or-
you
are
want me
the
to.
zoning enforcement.
Right, so that's where I
officer.
can do planning and zoning, but if you want me to do the enforcement as far as pursuing people that have violated and committed the fine, and they've done something in conservation or earthworks, then you just have to tell me that that's what you want me to do. Because I'm around town doing inspections all the time, I can keep tabs on these people, that's not an issue.
Is there a list somewhere so that all these boards know? So kind of give like conservation the heads up. Hey,
Yeah.
go check out.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go to the conservation meeting that's coming up, and, if this is something that gets approved tonight or whenever, that you decide that's something I can convey to them, and then they can double check with you guys if you want.
I think it's
Completely up to you.
important too that a town employee rather than a board or committee is responsible for enforcement also.
Yeah,
I think.
and I think if the new bylaw passes for the soils bylaw, that in there has a committee that is set up for doing the review prior to you guys issuing a permit for them. And there are several of us on there, one from Conservation, myself, and somebody from Planning, and then 2 members at large. So you have 3 represented there that have the authority to pursue issuing a stop work order or cease and desist. So I think it's reasonable to ask of me to monitor. That's not a problem. And like I
What
said,
happens if they don't pay?
so if they don't pay, it's usually you take them to court. And, you know, you go to, my experience was housing court in Worcester, Superior Court. Every Wednesday we'd go in and it was building code violations, everything.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's nothing.
So it's pretty quick, so, I
Yeah.
mean, how long do you give it, when they stop paying?
So it's just gonna tally up for every day that they continue working. You know, they're gonna subject themselves to a larger fine the further that they go, so they're only doing more harm to themselves.
Okay. Okay. That's my question.
I kind of had it on here just for discussion. I didn't really know if we were going to take a vote or not.
Do we want to vote on the $250 since that seems to be relatively straightforward, and on having Joe enforcement, or?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I didn't have it on here for a vote, but
Motion to approve the $250 fee and have the building inspector be in charge of enforcement.
Seconded.
I would just say instead of fee, fine.
Fine,
Because
okay, sorry.
Fee fine.
Yeah.
Fee fine.
Fine.
no, fine
The
is,
$250.
Fine
is good.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's
All
right,
right.
fine is bad. Fine is bad.
What he said.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
All right, so we've got a motion and a second.
See.
Anything else?
No.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Mr. Joe.
Thank you,
No problem, anytime.
All right. Now we've got either Paul or David. You want to come up, Paul?
Look at him, he's like in the front. He was
Run.
leaning, he was ready to
I
go.
was ready. I'm always ready. Hi.
Hi, Chief
Aye.
Marvelous. How are you?
Paul. How are you?
Good, thank you.
You okay?
Yep. Good.
All right.
Keep your family together.
Yeah, right.
It's always fun.
That's for sure. All right, so we were gonna talk about the fire chief search. You had gotten some information. I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted to talk about the warrant articles too, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. Do you want to do that first?
Sure.
Okay.
So I just adjusted the top one. The first one is it's $190,000 originally for self-contained breathing apparatus because we did not get the Fire Act last year that we had submitted. But I recently changed it to $19,000, which would be a 10% match because they released it early so that we can apply starting today actually, which it's usually December, January before we could start applying, which puts things out even further. So that's why we originally put in for the whole amount, which was much less than the $270 that we originally had budgeted because Scott came with a much better number. And
So that's
And-
now
what's that?
19,000.
Yes.
Yes.
Number
yeah.
one.
So number one would be
Of-
19,000,
Susan, what-
and the monies, the monies would not be spent, as I wrote in there, unless we were successful in obtaining the grant. Number two was the monies for upstairs here that we had said we passed over at last Springtown meeting. We just didn't, we had a lot of things going on at spring, and we just said, you know, we can deal with this in the fall because the timing wouldn't have been right anyway, because what we're planning to do is to finish off that upstairs second floor for bunk room, day room training, additional office spaces for both fire and police, and it'll fall in line with if the 25,000 was to do the engineering and design to see what it would take and what we'd need for cost and what it would cost for materials, because most of it, Assabet's chomping at the bit to do it. They were going to do it this year. Obviously, we weren't ready, but so it would be in line if we came to Springtown meeting. We know how much we need by then, come to Springtown meeting, and then they could start in the fall. And because a picture's worth more than 1,000 words, I kind of put this together for you today, so you could just see roughly what we're looking at for doing in that space over there. It's approximately 119 feet by 30 feet, and it's wide open. There would be a second stair tower put in which is where right now what we're using downstairs in the fire side for a bunk room, day room, is where the stair tower was designed to go. And again, we're trying to, we have people that do sleep here overnight, even though they're not getting paid. They come in and they're on their call groups or what have you, or if they come out late, they're on a call. Or if we have storms and they're on a standby, they bunk here. We even got, the last couple of months, we had a couple of police officers bunking overnight because they're on, they got a double shift or they've got training the next day or something, so rather than traveling home, they're staying. So it's, what little we have is being of good use.
So, go ahead.
I was going to say, my only thing with this is if we do this, I want to make sure that we clarify that this is just the initial cost, and if we can even give a ballpark, because really when we're doing this, we're sort of buying into a much bigger project, so I think we need to make sure that
we've estimated, I gave it to the architect that I worked with that built our building in Ashburnham, and he actually bought the company that designed this one, so he has a lot of the schematics already, and that was an estimate from him, that was a safe estimate. It may be less, but $25,000, and that's saying that it could be $250,000 to outfit it, so it's usually 10%
So just, I want to
the
make sure
cost.
that people
So
know
this is
that-
just for the engineering and design.
I know, I want
Right.
to make sure they know
Yeah, I
at
understand
town
what you're saying.
meeting
Correct.
You
that
need-
they're buying into a very large project by doing this.
But they'll have to know that that'll be coming, whether they vote for it or not, that's up to them, but
Yeah.
yes.
Like I said, it's just,
Yep.
$25,000, it's sort of easier, I think, for people at town meeting to vote
Oh, sure.
$25,000 than it is when they know that the potential for this project is
Yes,
250.
correct. And again, we think it might be considerably less because most of it's going to be materials, where Assabet's going to do probably at least 80% of the work. They might have, might have to have a sprinkler contractor or something come in to do that portion, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward layout and something that they can handle quite easily, so.
Well, the other thing is, though, we've also got this, we've had a conversation about the space issue. And maybe it should be a part of the whole space issue, even the reorganization of possibly offices here.
Right, and you're talking about not having enough space here, and we were going to get back the room downstairs that's being used for the Historical Society to do all that storage, which was a fitness area and things like that. So we'd be moving that out and up here, so that's potentially another, maybe it's a meeting room that goes downstairs in that space, and you take over a meeting room up here and use that as office space.
Well,
Yeah, there are 5 people fighting for it already, so.
well, I mean, there's some reconfiguration now that
Yeah.
we have a tax collector and
Right.
treasurer that's has 2 doors, and there may be
And you're gonna have a town
construction.
administrator, and
Right.
typically that, so.
Right, so it could be a part of the big picture, if you
Correct.
know what I mean.
What do you feel, I mean, just in general, the urgency on something like this? Can you give a sense of, I mean, I know you said,
Right now, if we have a storm standby, there's one set of bunks, so there's 2 people can sleep on a bunk, others sleep on a floor, or on the hose bed of a fire truck, which I've done in my history, or on the, in a recliner, or, which we have one, no, we have a couch, so they have a couch, so it's not, we just don't have the, what's a sense of urgency? We always get by. And that's what we always have done in public safety and the fire service. We always get by with what we have. So is it the right thing to do for our employees? We have employees that would like to, we're getting busier, and when there's calls during the middle of the night, rather than drive home, they'd just like to crash here, and then they're there for the next call that comes in. So I think it'd be money well spent on the facility. But again, the urgency, it's hard to say because we always get by. We are, speaking of how busy we are, we're just a point of information. We've done 87 more calls so far this calendar year than we did last time this year. So it's about a 20% increase in the number of calls. So they're not going down, it's getting busier.
the apartments are probably also going to
That's going to add, plus the other senior developments that are planned, plus the hotel. So you think It's not getting any
It's not
slower.
gonna go down.
But yeah, 20%, that, we plan a budget on about a 5% increase, and so when we're seeing a 20% increase, so the last thing on the list was the monies for the ALS intercept fees. Again, we planned this budget a year ago, and we've just had a larger increase of calls for ALS services, for paramedic services, which we don't currently supply. So it was just not in the budget. I budgeted about $10,000 or $15,000 for those fees, and if the way the projections go, it could cost us $40,000 for the year for that. That's paying when a private ambulance service comes into town with the paramedics, we pay them a flat rate for their services. So that comes right out of the fire department budget to pay them. So it's just, again, it's gotten busier with those kind of services needed. We are looking at because they're not always available. We're also, as I mentioned before, we're looking at a regional approach to how we can solve that issue, because many of the communities are having the same issue. There's just not enough paramedic services to go around for the need. So we've had, I think, 5 or 6 meetings so far with CMRPC and a lot of the area departments. So I think we've kind of narrowed our focus to the Boylston, Clinton, Lancaster, Bolton, and Berlin, maybe a model for that area that we could, that might
You're
work.
talking
But-
EMS?
What's that?
Fire and EMS?
No, just ambulance,
EMS?
just the paramedic services. So it might be something like you have a paramedic chase vehicle, like a Ford Explorer that has all the paramedic stuff, 2 paramedics in it, and wherever the call is, they go, kind of like the Gage and DeSoto days of emergency, where they used to go, and then they'd hop in the ambulance, and one of them would drive the truck back and go to the next call or something. So that's just one of the things that we're looking at for the area to try to solve that shortage.
And you've got the billing process worked out with June so that last year's bills
we-
aren't coming in now?
Yes.
How's it working?
Haven't seen it happen yet. There's a thing in place, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you haven't seen one either. So yes,
If,
we have to put it. We have a process. We just haven't put it on paper. So
And what's
if we
problem?
decide to go ahead and put this on, could you write something up potentially?
oh, certainly.
Just outlining.
Oh,
sort
certainly.
of
Yeah, that's
the
yours, sir.
need and the.
Yep.
That, and the potential,
Certainly.
costs and all of those things, so
Certainly.
people know.
It was also all part of the MRI study that was done in 2015,
Okay.
which identified that as a place that needed
And
to
how
be
urgent
addressed.
was it back then? Not as urgent as it is now, or
Well,
same?
I think with the growth, with the increase in the number of calls, and the way that we're operating, and the fact of getting people out the door quicker, I think it's become more urgent, over time, just because we're busier.
Yeah.
And there's a lot. There are a lot of calls that are in the overnight hours. And I would say it's at least, it may be even close to 20% are in the overnight hours from 11 to 7. So it's busy
Okay.
during those hours as well. So, and again, right now we have people that are assigned groups, and they don't get paid for being on call that night, but they get paid by the hour when the call comes in. So we got people that are willing to stay here overnight when their groups are on, and the ambulance is right out the door, and all we had to do is give them a place to put their head down. Seems pretty cost effective anyway. We have an opportunity to maybe get some students from the colleges in Worcester. I know Boylston's had quite a few, and Auburn's had quite a few, that they have kind of a live-in study program where the kids go to school during the day, and they bunk at the fire station for a few nights a week, and they're already EMTs, so there's somebody that can go on the ambulance. They get some fire training and things like that. So it's a program we started at Mount Wachusett Community College too, and it's worked out very well. So you get free help to stay for the overnight hours, and because those are typically the hardest hours for a small community to commit monies to have full-time staffing.
Right.
So.
Okay. did we have any other questions?
Just one more quick, anything with this project would be outside of the mitigation money, right? Because that's already in the capital plan. I'm just asking. It just needs to be clarified because somebody's gonna ask. I'm not trying to be difficult, I swear.
Public safety, fire and police, and EMS have put together a capital plan.
Yep.
We've seen it.
I haven't looked at the capital plan. I don't remember
And it
if
was,
this is
at one point in
involved
time, it was voted unanimous by the Board of Selectmen.
Yep.
And then it went to the Finance Committee, and they didn't. They had questions, we've been back and forth several times with, and we've fine-tuned we've fine-tuned the whole process a couple of times
Yep.
and gone back, and we were supposed to sit down this fall and say, all right, what else do we need to do? Are we going to move forward with it or not? So we haven't,
I think they probably felt as though they weren't a part of, the whole thing. It just kind of
Yep.
went to finance and.
So, anyway, we need to sit down. I've got to get a hold of Buzz, and because he promised that we'd sit down in September.
Yeah.
So, I've got to get a hold of him, and we need to sit down and figure out, are we going to use that or not? So, I'd have
so
to go
we
back
don't-
to
we
my
don't know
memory, and I
whether
don't even
that's
know
on
if
the
it's,
capital plan
I
or not?
I think it's in there.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's in
I was
there.
just curious, because that's an easier
I'm-
sort of,
I'm-
if there's money allocated for it, then it's
I'm
an
pretty sure
easier solve.
what we thought about was the mitigation funds coming from Riverbridge,
Okay,
which is supposed to be $100,000 a year for 5 years.
okay.
Part of that would go to do that. So again, we kept looking at how do we take the monies through the mitigation efforts that the town has made that are marked for public safety, and how do we best use those so that we won't impact the taxpayer for any equipment or any upgrades. So we think we've done that with with what we've put together. It's just a matter of, I guess, all having a come to Jesus meeting and sitting down and blessing the whole thing together, so.
Just obviously, if that was in the capital plan, like I said, it would be easier for you to solve that at town meeting. than
Absolutely.
If it was gonna come out of tax dollars.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
the only reason I brought it up.
I know.
I swear.
I know. Just put me
I
on-
only pick on
Put me
you
on the hot
occasionally.
seat, I'm
That
used to
wasn't
it,
really-
but that's okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
I think that's it. You can give the update in a bit.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice night.
Sometime
Can I just say
Friday.
a quick thank you
Let
to
me know
the
when.
ambulance
Okay,
squad?
yeah. I'll-
Let me know when.
Thank you to the ambulance squad.
Thanks, Chief Paul.
Oh,
Thank you.
yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for saving Mary.
Yeah.
Wasn't me, it was my people.
Chief,
Thank your
your
people
people.
for saving Mary.
Chief, thank you and your crew.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
We're glad you're better.
I don't know about that, but I'm here. Thanks.
David,
Good evening.
how are you?
Very well, how are you?
You keep coming back.
I know. It's starting to cost me a lot of money taking my wife out to eat prior to these meetings too. I just want to-
Select Board TV.
Pardon me?
Select Board TV.
Yeah.
So, why don't we talk first about the highway open house?
Okay, so I've been getting a lot of questions from residents as to when this event is going to take place. I'd like to see it take place on Friday, October 19th.
And are you in the midst of planning, or?
Well, I'm here to get some input from you, and perhaps once this gets out from the public, my thought on it was from like 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Gives us time to set up in the morning and time to break down at the end of the day. Nothing too fancy. We'll cook some burgers and dogs. Maybe we get some donations from the local farms, stores, restaurants, etc. To contribute something. We'll have soft drinks, water, chips. Maybe in the morning we could have muffins and coffee and donuts and... I'm not sure that's allowed, but...
We have to give them a one-day liquor license. No,
I'll
that's
sign
not
it.
happening.
I'll sign it.
And the other, one meeting I did bring this up, there was some talk that maybe we could get somebody like the Lions Club to do the cooking for us. I don't know if that's a possibility, or we'll throw it out there.
I don't have a connection with the Lions Club, do
Dave
you?
Malika is the person you need to talk to. I think I can get you a,
Okay.
because he's working with the home day committee also.
Other than that, we just need to, I know there's a few tables in one of the rooms here we can
Yes,
take. We'll need some
you can
tables and
have
chairs.
them.
Yeah, okay.
You can have them.
All but one. I'm
Well,
stealing one on Friday, but I'll bring it back.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
she's got a family reunion thing.
So I guess that's it. I mean, that's the day I'd like to do it. I'm not sure if that's acceptable to everybody.
Have you gotten any feedback from anybody as far as the date?
No.
Or haven't you?
No, I just said it's coming. It'll be within the next month.
Okay, so they don't really know what
So
the
you just
date
gotta
is.
throw a stick in the ground.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, you try to be as accommodating as we can, but at the same time, we gotta try to,
Well, I mean, to have it on a Friday, I think the guys will be around.
right.
I think if you do it on a Saturday, they
It's
won't
hard.
be.
Right, I think it'd be a little much for me to ask them to come in on their own time to do that. But I can do it.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, are you on Berlin Neighbors Connect yet? Do you
No.
do Facebook at all or not?
Yes, a little.
Okay, because that's a place that you probably want that
I was
out.
refraining from-
If you're not on there,
Oh, just just jump in the pool like the rest of us.
Peg and I are
That's all.
both on there. We can also
All right.
put it on there for you if you wish to avoid that particular, yeah. Just let me know or
Okay.
Peg know, I'm sure.
Yeah,
one of
just give us the details,
Yeah.
and we'll whiz it in for you. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're gonna do it. Everybody's good with that date, time?
That's great, yep.
I mean,
All right.
See,
Sounds
right.
good. And you had asked me about November 13th,
correct.
and that was a training? Or
Yes. So the date is still floating. I
Okay.
haven't pinned that down yet.
All right.
But I'm very active in this group. It's a training organization. It's UMass Transportation Center, Bay State Roads. They're a tremendous organization, and they educate mostly municipal employees on pretty much any subject you could come up with. And if they don't do it, they'll custom tailor a course for you. But the first course I'd like to bring to town is their snow and ice seminar. And the gentleman that puts it on, it's a full-day course, basically. It's to try to migrate towns, cities away from using sand on their roads,
Oh, yes.
and how detrimental the sand is to the environment compared to salt, believe it or not. And I've sat through 2 of his seminars on this, and every time I sit through them, I learn more and more. It's in my opinion, a seminar that everybody that's in public service, public safety, conservation, and finance should sit and listen to this gentleman. It's amazing the strategy that he puts in front of the municipality to get away from using sand on your roads for winter treatment.
And you would be probably inviting all the
I would
different
open up to the
parties
entire
that.
town.
Yeah.
We can, if we do a private class, we're up to 30 people can attend. So, I mean, it'd be nice if we could get a couple of dozen people from town that,
can we videotape it?
Probably we could videotape it too.
yep,
Yeah?
it's very
Yeah,
informative.
No, we're
Yeah.
booking you.
That's right.
For whatever date it
That
is.
might depend too, if they're actually, do they have you pay for the class? They might not want you to videotape.
Oh.
Unless that's something
Well,
they're
we
looking
can
for.
ask.
So
Yeah.
you can ask.
We'll put a camera in the corner, don't tell them.
Ignore the red light.
All right.
So I'd like to book that event. We'll probably do that on a Friday also. That's the only day he doesn't do public bookings. So
Okay.
he would do the private, if you will, I'll call it private, for we'll be close to just the town. We wouldn't solicit other towns to come in.
And that would be hours,
It usually starts at 8 a.m., I think, and it doesn't quite make it till 3, but it's pretty close. I think it goes to
Okay.
2
Full
at
day.
2:30.
yeah, okay. And there's no problem.
Well, you want the downstairs meeting space where the desks are? Do you know what room? I can help you reserve whatever room. you
Okay.
need.
Wherever the most, it's easy access
I
for
think you probably
everybody.
want the basement room, but I can help you
Okay.
do that. And also reach out to Conservation, Board of Health,
Yep.
FinCom, whatever
Right.
boards you think.
Everybody. And
Okay.
it should be open up to everybody.
Okay.
It's very informative. It's not just designed for the guy putting the material on the road.
If you've got a little, I can come up with a blurb and we can, I'll help you blast that around the
Okay.
town, okay?
Perfect.
I'll send you an email tonight.
And once you
just to
get a
remind
date,
Yeah, it'll probably be sometime in November.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
That's great.
That's all I
That's
have.
awesome that you're bringing training in.
It's the beginning of week number 3.
Yes, sir.
While you're here, can I ask you to keep an eye on the water for the library and make sure that that's going along smoothly? I know that there was a wee bit of a delay with Paul Wheeler. Library folks had reached out, where the initial, I think, Title V failed, but there's something about a tank can go in there, so next deadline is the 30th, which is Friday?
Sunday, right.
30th is Sunday,
Yeah.
yeah, so if you kind of, I'll plop you on the email.
Okay.
So that you can
Just give me
see
the
that.
contact. I did see something come across, but it didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's the whole water
Okay.
thing, just to make sure that the library folk are taken care of. Okay, I'll whiz that over to you.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Sorry, so late.
That's all right.
Because I've already forked over your name and said that you
I
that you
figured you
would,
did.
so you know. Thanks for agreeing.
Yeah, no problem. What was my choice?
All right, what do we got left here?
Have a good night. Thank you.
Do we have to special town meeting warrant, or we could do, you want to do the special town meeting warrant?
Yeah.
Alright. And then you have to give us a quick little update on the fire chief search, too.
See.
All right, so,
I had a little interruption today, else this probably would have been a little bit cleaner, but I did,
so did you send us something, or? Did you give us
printed it
something?
out.
emailed
Oh,
it.
did
I
I-
did not
did I
email it,
take
just
it?
printed it.
Did I
It's right in
steal
front-
it?
In front of your nameplate, Chris.
Oh,
Chris, right in front of your.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. All right.
So, this first article, the town administrator form of government,
Yep.
it's not updated, it's,
Right.
you know, okay. so-
right, because it's referring to select board, and we're not select board,
Yep,
so all that
nope.
needs to change.
Okay.
Okay.
So, that's to be sent tomorrow and worked out tomorrow. Do you need to talk any more about that, or you good?
No.
The next one's the consultant. for
Can we,
the,
before you send it to town council, though, I'd like to
Look at
take a
it
look at
again.
the doc when they send it to us, so.
Yep. Well, Lisa's gonna interact with
Beth was
Taunton's
doing it.
office.
I will
doing it
see if I can
tonight.
get something on whatever Beth sends me for them tomorrow morning. I do also want to make clear that it was actually the state's legal team that who went over the act on their end. It wasn't specifically, it was a lawyer
Oh, I know.
over on their side.
I know that.
Who does this.
We just never have done that before.
Yeah.
Never found it necessary, that's all.
And they didn't charge us anything, so,
We paid for it already.
yeah.
So the
Alright,
second one's the
so-
town administrator, $5,000 fee. Did you want to increase that?
Well, that's what I was gonna say, to Lisa's comment, do we proof it a little?
I'm just wondering if you want to, because it's a warrant and it all goes back in.
If we don't use it.
If we don't use it, if we want to come up with a number that's more realistic than 5,000, because we kind of know that 5,000 is probably too low, right?
Right.
Oh, God, yeah.
Definitely, I would
So-
say, we didn't know what your appetite would be, so just as input is that if you want to appropriate the whole amount and you'd still have it to spend after the beginning of the next fiscal year,
You
then
would,
you
I
would do
mean-
it now, but if you felt, you didn't know what the
Well,
deal was, if you
particularly-
needed to, then,
yeah.
you'd have to maybe ask for more.
If we have to sign a contract, though, we kind of have to know that we can,
Fund it. Or
Fund
you
it.
can't sign it.
Oh, that's good.
So it has
And the other nifty thing at the very top of page 1 is June suggested way back when, so this is just a tickler, that you can put sunset clauses on this, so money doesn't keep
Yeah.
kicking down the road for multiple years at a time.
Right.
Like decades, actually, in some
yeah,
cases.
and I think, kind of the minute we had a town administrator,
It should go away.
it should go away.
The balance, unused balance would go away.
So, I guess, has the finance committee met and decided on yes, no?
They would make recommendations on your articles once we have articles. So they have not gotten even a rough draft of this yet.
Okay, because I thought, I
When's
could have
the town
sworn
meeting?
that they saw,
The 15th of October.
They're not meeting until the 24th.
I know.
That's correct.
It's really helpful.
So they may or may not.
I thought that they also were all talking about that at their 19th meeting.
Well, they may convene another meeting just to go through this and make recommendations.
No, that was, I thought was on the agenda, was to talk about all
Okay.
the articles. So I didn't know, like, where is the money coming from?
They weren't here. They didn't have a meeting.
Oh, I thought they did that, I don't know, it
They
just
had
seems.
one
Oh, yes,
last
they did.
Wednesday.
Yes, they did last
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wednesday.
but they can't look at something that doesn't exist yet.
Right.
Right, well, I don't know if they were copied on this or not.
So we may have to
It
ask
doesn't even
them.
have town meeting on the calendar. That's why I was asking, like, who's doing this
Special,
calendar?
yeah.
So we really
Well,
can't put
that's
the money in
budget
until
calendar
what,
I understand.
FinCom
That's
looks at
not
it?
the-
I understand.
Well,
Oh,
or I
no.
think we're asking.
No, you- you
Do
can.
you want them to make a hopefully positive recommendation to town meeting on something like this? So it would be really nice if they, I mean, I suppose they could stand up in the meeting and, but,
Say no, you mean?
well, they
Is that
could
what you're saying?
say yes, say no, whatever.
Right,
But it
they're
would be
going
nice
to.
if they did that beforehand. Could we maybe touch base
Yeah,
and
'cause, I
see
mean,
if?
as of right now, yeah, as
if
of right
they
now,
would
they
do
don't even
that.
have one posted for the special town meeting. On the special town meeting.
Yeah,
tonight, so.
yeah. Maybe we
Maybe
can
have to
touch
check
base
with
on
them.
all of these things, since they're sort of important.
Did you get,
But this has to go to print next week, right?
yeah.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it has to go to print
It has to go
this
to
week.
print this week.
It has to be reviewed
So
by
it has
town
to be
council,
mailed
signed by the selectmen.
By Monday? So, yeah, okay.
I don't think we're gonna get a yes
not
or
gonna
no,
be able to get a
a
vote
thumbs up,
before
So
thumbs
maybe
down
we
from
start
FinCom
town
then.
meeting
Just throw
with,
it in.
you know, it wasn't that they didn't approve anything, it just, they didn't meet,
Yeah.
so
Okay,
this happened fast.
so, what do you say, girls?
So that's just email
Okay.
a clean
Motion
copy
or-
of the
I would,
special.
I guess I would like to see this bumped up, and if we need to amend it on the floor, that's fine, but I think it doesn't make sense to put in 5 when we know it's gonna probably be significantly more than that,
Well, yeah, I
It can be
think
passed
so.
over if you don't get the free cash certified.
yeah. But let's go forward like we
Like
have,
for 10, because it's in the works right now.
yeah.
So what are we thinking? 10?
I guess we think, don't we normally go to 15 and then hope for the best?
That's fine.
I think they said up to 16. maybe,
Yeah,
but-
that's
but
the
we felt-
maximum,
we
but
had
we
felt-
can-
But we had felt that a lot of the,
Yeah.
you looked at the à la carte stuff that most of them did, we've done a lot of legwork with, you'd be going in with sample job descriptions, and you'd hand them, and it wouldn't be like you'd be starting from
Okay.
scratch.
So with luck-
Some of them actually
Yeah.
write special
Right, right,
ads,
but
so-
when we're going out to look for a fire chief, the estimate, without doing all that stuff, or at least not all of it, is still $21,000.
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
It's
so
still
I think,
gonna
so I
be-
think the 15.
It's gonna
Let's
be,
do-
I would,
let's
I
do
would guess
15.
15.
I'm guessing 15 won't be enough, but let's go for 15.
Do you
That's-
want it to be more, I mean?
No, I mean, I was gonna start at 10 and then, you know, add something at Maytown meeting. 15's fine? What do you say? What are you thinking?
Like Lisa said, though, you can't sign a contract if you don't have the full
If you don't
amount.
have the full amount.
That's the only, like
True.
what I was saying, if you did it
So, I
before
mean-
the annual.
Well, if you say
could do
there's
it
à la
à la
carte though,
carte,
can
yeah.
you not sign a contract for à la carte?
But
I don't
if
know.
you're-
Well, I mean,
You
you
can
can
get
for the,
proposals with different price points for the different
Right,
pieces,
right.
yeah.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
mean,
You can only buy
yeah.
what you can afford.
Yeah. But you don't
Depending on
wanna,
bids.
I think
you're not
16
gonna
was,
wanna,
16 was like the high end of what he had seen.
He,
Bill.
Bill, yeah.
Tom Messina.
Bill had sort of
Thomasina
looked
was the
into
one that
this.
actually contacted most of them, so he said that was.
How many did you?
Five.
Okay.
Well, do you wanna make the motion? When we get
I-
16, 15?
Okay, I move that we, change this number to 15, or, sorry, 16. So we'll get the maximum of what he saw, and then hopefully we won't have to do this again.
With the sunset clause, or?
With the sunset clause of when we hire a town administrator, it,
Well, that's the whole point. I mean,
Dissolves, yeah.
it would automatically expire with a town administrator, would it?
yeah, it was open for a long time, right?
Right.
We were thinking it might still be open, so let's do that.
So you usually set a date for a sunset
Just
clause.
say.
So, wait a minute, Alex,
Next year.
are you gonna second?
December of 19?
Or do you want, I'll second it, just so we can have a
You can go December
conversation.
okay,
20,
second it so we
17.
can have conversation.
Okay,
Or I'll second it so we can have conversation. I
Whatever.
second it so we can have conversation.
all right. Conversation.
Well, I'm just concerned that, I mean, we can up it to 16, but like other items that have not gone before FinCom without them looking at it, they get really ticked at us. So is there any way, even though they're not gonna meet, that we can send something out to them and at least kind of warn them that this is on the
Yes,
thing?
it all needs to go to FinCom. Yes. It all needs to go to FinCom. I think they're probably gonna realize when we start talking about the fire chief search at $21,000, that
Correct. It's not a small chunk of money.
It's not going to probably surprise them that 16 for a
Is-
town administrator.
It's within the ballpark, yep.
Right. And I think at one point we estimated 10 for the treasurer collector and 10
10
for
for the
something
fire
else,
chief,
the
yeah.
fire chief, and, you know, look where we are with the fire chief now.
Okay. All right, I'm all right with 16.
And with luck, you know, they will be able to meet, and while it won't be able to get on the printed one, maybe we can have them do something that's either handed out or something
from
at town
FinCom?
meeting from FinCom
Yes.
saying, we did indeed look at these, and
Well, it could be put on Facebook, it could still be
It-
put
it
out there
can-
somehow, even
yeah.
if, yeah.
Right.
there are ways, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, we have had special town meeting warrants where they haven't had a FinCom recommendation before, so.
Yeah, and I think they've actually done it just before.
Right. At the
Yeah.
special town
Yeah.
meeting.
And that's
Yeah.
fine, just so long as we have something there.
So, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor of?
Did you put in sunset clause in? Wayne suggested the end of 2019, December
I'm
31.
just guessing. I mean, you guys, I mean, if it gets approved and you had a salary that you were able to advertise as of like June 1st.
That's mid-fiscal year. How about the end of the fiscal year,
Well,
fiscal year
I
20?
mean, I'm
Oh,
a
you
little
could-
worried
yeah.
about like putting a sunset clause on this. I mean, what if, say for example, hopefully this doesn't happen, but it won't pass. If it doesn't pass and we bring it to another town meeting, that might shorten the life of the warrant article money.
Why, you changed the
Sunset.
Well, you
clause.
could change it. You'd have
Not
to.
my decision.
Right, right. You know, I'm just wondering
how
if
about
it's
we
a smart
just-
idea.
Or you
What-
don't start
let's-
it now and you
Okay.
wait until the annual.
How about
Right.
we put just a note on the calendar, you know, to look in on these again and make sure that this one gets closed.
I mean, you don't just
even
part of
even
it was
that
just a
of-
thought.
I mean, you're right though. I mean, it should be closed.
Oh,
when we
absolutely. I
hire.
agree with that, too.
So either a note somewhere that let's request that at the next town meeting.
I mean, if it was as simple as something like tablets for the building, you know, the building committee, not building committee, the building inspectors people or something. This is a little bit, I think, more complicated.
All right, so we're good. We're not doing the sunset clause. We're doing 16.
Yes,
So,
and
all good.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is this coming with a summary? Is there going to be a
It had
summary written on that?
It does
They
not.
actually sent over a summary.
Because that was
I
the
don't-
thing
I
from
didn't
last
think that.
time,
I
that
don't
there
think
were a
so.
ton
Tim
of
didn't
summaries
give
that
summary.
were
There were
missing.
summaries for
Mhm.
both.
Well, this is something we
That's
just started
mentioned
too.
it, so if she doesn't have
She
it.
actually did send them.
She talked to me earlier tonight that she didn't have one and would be working on one.
Okay.
There was one for this one.
She'll have it if you don't have it.
I told her like 150 words.
Should
or
be a
less. She
rule,
goes, "Oh,
though.
it's going to be shorter
The
than that. It's gonna be
explanation
two
has to be-
sentences."
Not the words
Not
that are
it- Not
used.
longer than the actual
Yeah.
article. You know,
That's next to impossible.
that's kind of like defeating the purpose, you know?
Yeah.
So
All right,
16
so
And-
we're moving on to the marijuana zoning bylaw.
And Tim did promise he was working on these.
He did.
Promised
And
he was
actually,
working on the
he did
summaries.
send a, an email with an explanation. Did you get that?
He talked to me the other day, so
And
I got the full
I
download.
feel like there was an explanation even within that email for this bylaw needs to be voted on first.
You absolutely have to do the first one.
Yes,
Because otherwise we've got nothing, and that's bad.
right,
And then the next three were
In theory, that could
picky
fail.
choosy.
right. They were a la carte or
Yeah,
something.
and it got successively tighter as it went down.
Right. So I told him, I did talk to him about an explanation, and I said, you need an explanation for
On
this.
these tables.
And
Yeah.
he said that the explanation is in the, was it the bylaw?
You can't You can't do that because people don't have the bylaws. I mean, if you're
Right.
taking the time
Or in
to
the-
write
in
this,
the
then you
zoning
need to write a
bylaws, though.
summary. Right.
I don't wade into a separately elected board's summary. They are gonna queue themselves up for either success or not by providing a summary.
Well,
How about
And-
we see, he did say Saturday, but I guess this needs to go pretty quick, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
do we need the summaries for the lawyer?
no, probably
No.
not.
Right?
Well,
Or
it
do
would be
we?
helpful if it showed exactly what the sponsoring entity intends in
But we
in
never
plain
used to
English.
have-
We did, this was new,
I know,
so-
but it's now going to possibly send a voter in a different direction depending on those summary words. It doesn't have to be reviewed.
Well, I
No,
think
no,
too,
I'm saying it doesn't need the summary to go to the
I'm saying it doesn't
KP.
need to be reviewed by KP Law, but it could send a voter in an opposite direction.
KP has also been working with them on these, so I think they are aware of
Right,
the intent.
right,
Just like the next one, Berlin School Committee with no summary.
right.
Well, to be fair, I didn't prompt any of these people to give us summaries after last week's
And-
meeting.
and
So
we-
I can do that tonight and just say, can you please zip us 150 words on each of these or less overnight?
And please don't refer people to go find zoning bylaw 3.9.6.12. People don't even show up with
We don't have
this. You think
time.
they're
If-
gonna show up with
If they
other
want to say
stuff?
that in their summary, then they can say that in their summary, no?
That's poor.
I agree.
If you're taking the time to write this, then you take the time to explain to the average citizen of the town of Berlin what your intent is. Because I look at this, and I've read this 15 times, and it's only been because I've been talking with you far smarter people that I understand what's going
It's a time
on.
sink if you don't. Yeah, I know.
And
Well, I
just
mean-
maybe for next time, we can request when we send out the thing, because I think it's gonna take
Yeah, at the
time for
very-
people
yeah,
to
it'd
get
be
into
good.
the habit.
In the notice of the town meeting itself.
Yeah.
To say not just final articles, but final articles and summaries due by a deadline that passed weeks ago.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind, like I said, it does defeat the purpose if, you're gonna have an explanation that's longer than the article, because
No,
it's
they were
easier to
limited.
read the
Yeah.
article.
Well, we can be more clear with limit on the length of the summary.
Or, I mean,
Put it in plain speak.
like the one for the $16,000, I guess there may need to be an explanation, but,
Probably laying out like a charge or a scope of what that money would be used for.
well, that could be in the explanation
But
at the
as-
town
Can I just
meeting.
make a suggestion is, if you want to keep them short, they could refer to someplace else for even more detail.
The
If they
website?
wanted to give it, like if with everything online, you could say, go to the planning board's website or whatever.
I mean,
You're
it just
assuming that
depends.
people go online, though.
Well, it did.
I'm not
Either
saying, I'm
way,
not
we
saying it
managed
shouldn't,
to
I'm
do
not
a
saying it shouldn't be as
whole-
complete, but some things are
We
complicated.
managed to do a
It's
whole
just-
warrant last spring with summaries that worked pretty well, I think, so I think we can
Okay.
do it again. Where are we at?
We are at
School,
the
page 12.
Okay,
regional agreement,
okay,
which I,
so that's all set, right?
Can I get a summary?
Other
you
than
could ask them
summary.
for a summary.
I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just,
And these are just moving
the
the,
acronyms are wrong, or were wrong.
yeah. And the next
Um,
one is just moving the line items.
Right.
So we don't know numbers yet for that, is that right? Or can we put numbers in? I mean, town council doesn't care about what the numbers are, but do we have any idea from those departments, June?
Right now, I don't have an exact amount because I don't know what Dave's intent is.
Some department needs to do that. Each department
But
needs
we
to do
should
that.
be able to do the council on aging. I mean, I would like to think that we should be able to sit down and calculate.
June and department
Well-
heads
Does
too.
Dave know that he needs to give a number here?
Probably not, because I don't
Okay.
know if he or Keith.
Yeah, he may be
I
done,
mean, technically,
he may be done with Keith now.
we're done as
Yeah,
far as,
so-
because you put a date on it as of the end of this week,
Yeah.
so
Was it
So
the end of
perhaps we
September?
have a number already?
I thought it was.
I thought it was October.
Was
I
it
thought
in
it was October something.
Yeah, we gave him 30 days.
So there needs to be a
But let's-
projection.
Let's
So-
just talk to David, because he may be finished, he looks like he's settling in very well.
Yeah,
He may be not using Keith at this point.
okay. So you're gonna come up with the numbers, we just need, it'd be nice to have the numbers though before we go to,
Print?
yeah.
Yeah,
2 days,
yeah,
3 days?
yeah.
2 days.
Well, how long is it gonna take the
It still needs to be mailed.
attorney?
the attorney. I don't know.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
they
not
may
gonna
not
be 2
review
days.
it, may not have a lot of time.
So we need it ASAP.
Like
Yes.
tonight. Mhm.
Right.
Like a version, even with these blanks on the dollars, should go out tonight, because that's
Right.
just plugging in the money later.
So, yeah, you do have our final version. Beth emailed it to you. You'll have
Just
it.
now.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay.
So fire department is 19
Um,
grand.
Yep.
He wanted it to say, though, with added language, which I can wing in there, spending dependent on receipt of
Grant.
federal grant, which it does not currently say.
Okay. Did he leave a paper here with that on?
Related grant. Yeah, I have no
I
idea.
only caught bits and pieces of what he said.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
I'll
we're
add
good
that.
with that one?
So then, if we're reducing it, and I don't believe I'm even gonna ask this, if we're reducing the first one from 190 to 19, do we put back the 25 one that we took out?
I think I'm okay with the 25, like I said, as long as it's made very clear that what people are agreeing to is really,
It's the blueprint.
big thing.
Yeah, it's the blueprint, it's not
Yeah.
gonna be final.
yeah, and they're,
Stuff.
you know.
I mean, I'm just wondering if we should pull back and look at the big picture, though, before we start asking for design money. You know,
I don't know, it doesn't seem to me like we're gonna take that over there. I mean, that, the intent for that has been for a long time for bunks and stuff, right? Am I not?
I, just since he probably got that report, MRI. It was in the MRI report, which was, I forget what year they put that out.
15 or 16.
You know, does that mean they're giving back some space downstairs? I know, you know. So I don't know whether this is, for me, I mean, if it's a good idea, or we perhaps.
I guess my thought was that we let the chief sell it to town meeting, and if town meeting agrees, then it's something that the town wants, rather than this one leaving, you know. Peg, do you have any thoughts on, it just seems like this is a sort of big thing that maybe you take to town meeting and say, is this a direction you want to go?
Or is this something we save maybe for annual town meeting?
Yeah, see, that's my concern too, is that generally at the special town meetings, there's a far smaller group, and I would hate to try and push through chunks of money where 3/4 of the town doesn't show up,
No.
where there's a bigger selection.
I suspect that you're not going to have a smaller group because of some of the things on there.
Oh, marijuana
I think you're
maybe?
going to have a pretty
that's true.
decent sized group.
That's true.
And I'm not sure, I mean, I'd be interested too to see the actual difference in numbers at this point. Not that we can do that now, but it's really, I'm not one way or the other really. I guess like I said, would be inclined just because of the timing issues and then you take the big chunk if you have it to annual, but
Well,
So don't forget the financing part of it too,
Hmm?
and how you're gonna finance it.
yeah,
The finance committee hasn't really been involved.
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards waiting
And-
till the annual. And do I hear a motion? Do I hear an
Motion-
opinion?
Motion to put the 25 for the blueprints on the town warrant,
Special.
or special town, you know what I mean.
Well, I was just talking about annual, so I wasn't sure.
Okay.
Seconded.
All right, anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
vote no.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you pass that down to Mary? Mary, that's the wording that he sent me for the grant, so I don't know if you just want to steal it.
The chief?
Yeah.
Can I just
where are
forward
we
that to
here?
me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yikes, where is it?
All right, now we're on to the ALS, correct?
No,
Yes.
Earthworks,
Earthworks.
page
Oh,
14.
No,
Oh,
the
no,
ALS, you're not
ALS,
changing
okay.
anything on that, right?
Oh, sorry.
ALS was the one we didn't really, we gotta pay, so there's.
Okay, so we're good with that one.
Good with that.
Oh, you're welcome. Can you keep us posted, or can you keep me posted, June, and make sure that that process that he has for bills, because, I mean, that's,
It's on paper. The thought process is there. It's a matter of now implementing, and the last I heard that they have started it, but there was some glitches. So,
okay.
We're trying.
Okay, so is this the final Earthworks? Mary, do you have any idea? Or was there only one? I don't know.
This is the one that Amy,
So this is what I suggested to delete both of those articles in their entirety. This does not include what Amy suggested, which do not delete the entire bylaw in its entirety, because that's risky. She suggested instead her version, which was just gonna tinker with what was on the books of the earthworks. And I think, but I didn't really read it all, I think she was deleting the like-kind soil and blending it into earthworks, but not striking both of those in their entirety. She thought that was risky.
Okay.
So I have not maybe dropped in.
Well, and unfortunately, I think I sent you guys an email today about Amy coming to October 1st, and she's unavailable. So I was gonna have her talk about, just to, go over the policy with us.
And then it'll be signed in everyone's mailbox.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Do you want her to come in?
I don't know when she can come in.
You might want to schedule a meeting for later this week to even sign this, or you could come in separately, I suppose. I don't know what you'd have to vote to accept this in final form.
Before it goes off to the printer?
I would think
Well-
you would. In fact, I'm not even sure how much time we have to do that. Do you know what I mean? I have to give 48 hours notice of posting a meeting if you want to have a meeting.
Right.
It could be Thursday, I guess, at this point.
Well, can we make the vote tonight and then just come in on our own and sign?
You could say voted tonight, yeah, come in on your own and sign it,
Right.
subject to town council final review, if that's how you want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Might as well do that. All right, so
Earthworks.
make sure
So
we get
Amy already did send back, I just was detained. So I believe I have that kicking around. I thought she was still gonna touch base with Joe on something on that, though. Did you all get copied on that? On Amy's answer on? I put so much effort into minutes that I thought I would do this today. Let's see, Amy.
And Beth just sent over both of the article summaries.
Oh, sorry. Don't start, huh?
bad, bad, not fine, bad. So Amy had sent something through on the 9th.
Yep.
For the draft earth removal and import bylaw. Is that this? No.
No, this
Right,
is,
hang on.
I think this is an old,
Okay, then that one needs to be substituted in there.
right.
The
Do we
12th,
know
it looks like.
that you have something from the 12th?
I have Mary attaches the earth removal input bylaw. I've attempted to combine the earth removal bylaw and the like-kind soils bylaw. I've sent this to Joe for review. Joe and I previously discussed the difficulty.
Are those even actually dark chocolate?
Oh, yeah. I'll take a
Oh
photo
my
of those.
god.
Yeah, they are.
Are they all? Oh, they're all dark.
They're all dark, we're all trying to be healthy. Not really.
Oh, I
Yeah,
hate
that was
milk
just a
chocolate, it's
placeholder.
gross.
Blasphemy!
I think it's
Sit
disgusting.
down! Milk chocolate is
I know.
good.
Oh,
I
no,
What do you
like
want, Mary?
Dark.
They're all dark.
Oh.
You got peanut, and you got,
Just take anything.
throw it.
In fact, unwrap them and just chuck them in my craw. I don't care.
Run. We're on video now, no?
Yeah. Caffeine and chocolate.
Thank you.
Milk chocolate, bad.
Oh, I know. My
No, really,
favorite.
it grosses me out. I don't even
I'm
like
coming up
the-
to your house trick or treating, you better have regular chocolate.
I used to do honey sticks.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I'm not going to your
And I
house.
did bouncy balls a couple years too. I got a
Oh
big
my
thing
God,
of
what's
bouncy balls
wrong
and the
with
kids
you?
loved them.
Honey sticks and bouncy balls.
I have a kid with a dairy allergy. She can't eat this.
Alright, we'll let it go. Yeah, but she's not home for Halloween this year.
No,
Just
but nobody
saying.
comes to my house for trick or treat anyways.
Okay,
All right.
Chris, this was on Sunday, September 23rd at 3 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So she's working on Sunday. I reviewed the emails and bylaw attached. First note that this is a general bylaw and not a zoning bylaw. That's where these reside.
No, wait a minute, that's not the right one, is it?
Yes, it is. She wrote it to you with a
Oh,
copy
okay,
of
yeah.
Ryan Mazur. At first note, okay, also the proposed article is to delete the current bylaw and replace it with a new section. In my opinion, and if possible, it is preferable to amend the existing bylaw by striking language and adding language. That way,
Isn't that the AG one?
that way the Attorney General only reviews the portions of the proposed bylaw which are being amended. No, that's not what she was talking about.
Are you sure? What's the name of the?
Oh, you're right.
It's not the right.
It's Chief Z's one.
Right.
Good for you. I'm in a blur.
I have been reading
You're right.
those emails today, so
Wow,
went back and read them.
I have not. Okay,
So.
I'm gonna go back and go.
Yep, that's not the right one. That's not the
Earthwork.
earthworks.
So you'll make sure Mary has the right one.
Yeah.
25011.
I'm sure it's in there somewhere.
Okay. Attached to the earth removal import bylaw. I have attempted to combine the earth removal bylaw and the like-kind soils bylaw. I have sent this to Joe for review. Joe and I, I'm choking.
Don't choke on the
Previously
cat.
discussed the difficulty of combining the two without repetition, and I have attempted to incorporate his suggestions. I plan on speaking with Joe again after he reviews. The Board of Selectmen can put a placeholder on the warrant, and once Joe and I discuss, I suggest meeting with the board to go over the proposed bylaw and address any questions and/or comments. That was on Sunday, September 9th.
Right.
I'm
And we-
not really worried about legal having a problem with this one though.
No. No.
They wrote it, I'm not really.
No, you
I'm
just need to
thinking
put the
we just
right
need to
one
put the right one in.
the warrant.
So I think mostly
So the
we're
whole
good as long
squad,
as the
Lauren
right one.
Goldberg and Amy Cassell and Brian Riley on the marijuana, and everyone needs to take their little piece of this and run and get it back to us in a day.
Yep. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, really.
Dreamy.
You're dreaming.
I just, putting offset is really nice. If you just call them and say it's coming in hot, they're really
They're right
fast.
at it? Good.
I can go get it from them and then bring it to the post office just to try to
I
expedite.
think
They
even
bring it over the
when
next
we did
day.
it the last time, they're like,
Usually a special town meeting warrant is 1 page. This is 24 pages, but that's not that big of a deal.
the last one we did.
It's the same thing to a machine.
There's a couple of double
Oh,
things
good.
in there, so
Okay,
it's not that
the
long.
next ones are Dennis's, right?
Right. Now it's
So
that,
there's this one.
Are those all-
Application of bond premium.
Do you want me to check with Amy to see where her and Joe are on the final language?
I think you just use what Amy
Amy
sent
hasn't
you.
given us anything.
Oh, I thought she had.
She said she sent something on the 12th.
So attached is, okay, but you want to just, well, she didn't say this was in final version. She says this is a draft that her and Joe are still working on, and that she was going to connect with Joe. I can drop this in though anyhow. Joe was out last week.
Right.
Yeah, but he was checking email.
Okay. I don't,
You may, you can either, if you can't find the final version that she sent in
Drop
your
this in.
email, then I would contact her and just say, can you resend it? She's got to have it. And if I find it, I can send it to you.
well, you think there is one?
It's
I thought there was.
Oh, okay.
it's 9:30. I think we got that one covered. Can we go on here?
Yep. All right. Application of bond premium. Is this one of Dennis's?
Probably.
I think so.
And this is probably municipal modernization. which is basically
Just to
pulling it
make,
directly
just making
from-
sure that you've got the language you need, which I believe you do. The language for the cable access, that's all cool with everybody?
And there's a summary.
Oh, good.
Okay, if that's his, can we put that with the rest of his?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
he just told me today, he doesn't have language for some of these. I gotta go find, maybe there is. And there's one that he wanted to delete today.
Yes, he did. I did see that.
$5,000, but I'm not sure if he means this one, which is 1,000 to 50,000. I don't see one for a quote $5,000. So I'll check with him.
I think it
So
was
that's page
that.
22.
If you look back on page 19, application of bond premium, Lisa's asking for that one to be put with all the other ones, the
Yes.
last heading
Oh,
called
agreed.
treasurer
And we
collector
can either
articles.
move, we may want to move those even out front of the, I don't know,
Marijuana.
yeah.
Marijuana's gonna take forever,
It is
so-
gonna take forever. I was thinking that we all are going to be so done by the end of that we may want to just get everything else before it, but unless somebody else has
Yeah.
other thoughts.
Oh, no, I think
So let's get everything else
everything in front of the
before
marijuana.
So all the planning board stuff goes at the end along with the citizens petition.
Yeah.
Okay. And put, okay, so put
And
this
the
with Dennis's
citizens
stuff.
petition below, obviously, the marijuana, or the.
First?
the- Below the planning stuff.
No,
At the
after.
end,
After.
where it
Yeah.
usually goes, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Cable access.
Are we good? You can even put the closing out the articles before the marijuana.
Yeah, everything, yeah, I got you.
Yep.
So cable access is all set, so they said, right, Raj?
I think so.
Okay. Citizens petition is what it is. Not adding any summaries for them, even though they didn't provide them?
No.
That's it. Special article closeout
That was before.
All right.
has a summary.
I think we are gonna be so discussed out by the time we actually get to the citizens petition that, yeah.
Is there any chance we should put the special article very first to free up cash? Can we lay hands on this cash during this meeting?
You bring your
Depends on
own.
how you vote it.
I can do that.
Did you hear?
No,
like,
what?
If you put special article closeout at the very beginning of the meeting, it might free up cash for you to spend later in the meeting.
But
True.
it depends on how you vote it.
I understand, I'm just
I
saying.
mean, you can't vote it back into free cash and then want to use it. That would be the only thing. You'd have to actually change this whole article to use this money.
Oh,
Yeah.
doesn't matter
Right.
then.
We're feeling bullish on you getting the free cash, right? Certified?
I'm real.
It'd make it go faster if we
Tomorrow.
don't.
I want it tomorrow,
All
but
right.
You want some chocolate? Just saying. You got your own?
I did.
You get your own
just in case
stash?
you ate all of that, I kept.
No, no, we're good.
Just
Snob down there who only wants
All right.
dark
Is there
chocolate.
anything else on here we need to
I don't think so.
beat on? No?
If you have any questions or anything, Mary,
Well, you can see Dennis's stuff there on pages 22.
I thought he gave you like an
He
updated
may, I gotta go check
email.
and see if he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you maybe, I mean, do you
I'll
want to
copy
touch base
everybody.
with Dennis tomorrow, or?
I'm pretty sure there's an
Are we
email
good?
where he gave us
Yeah, maybe.
like 5 of them, and then now he wants us to drop one of them.
Yeah.
I think it's actually
Okay,
6
here's
we
my
got from
agenda.
5. But, okay.
We do all this stuff?
We have to do.
I know.
Do you want to fill us in on any of the search search stuff you've done?
Search stuff, thank you, Mary, for sending me search people to search on, but have reached out to 3 or 4 folks, and unfortunately, it's a game of voicemail and tag. So what I've asked, given my schedule with jury duty this week, is just for them to send me like a list of questions, and then I can get back to them, so we don't dilly-dally and delay. But it's moving, so we'll definitely have more people than Badge Quest to look at, which is
Okay,
good.
good.
Yep,
Good.
so that's chugging.
And then, what was the other one you were gonna do?
But just the personnel committee, I mean, I met with them, and,
The personnel committee?
we're not down to old business yet, never mind.
The
Sorry.
online updates,
Oh, yeah, that one.
online updates.
So, chocolate all over my papers, thank you. So I did go out and look at multiple towns on how
No,
they
I'm good, thanks. I
get
won't be able to
information
sleep.
out to their folks, in addition to the notes and agendas that they have. There's a multitude of town. Cambridge has a news section on their front page. Springfield has an announcement page. Cape Cod has a resource page. Hudson has links. I even
That's
went
what I said.
outside.
There's a nice news page that's coming on the new website.
Yeah, I agreed, but I still don't think that we should wait. I mean, given that there's more than enough examples, and I'll change the format of what it was and go back to what they did, and go back and just kind of redo it. But there's lots more towns out there. I like Dunstable. They even have a link to ask the selectmen questions and a link for projects and initiatives.
The new website will also have us send
Good.
us comments.
Okay. So then do we move on getting this done now? I mean, I really don't want to wait.
If you want to do it in the format, such as the news format, and have it like blocks and that sort of thing, I have no issue with putting it sort of in that neutral language in a
Okay.
thing.
If you can
but-
send me the format.
Well, it's just any one of those. I mean, you can
Alright.
look at any one of the, and you don't have to put cutesy little pictures in there, but it's just that basic informational, you know, we've hired a,
Yes.
that's why I said, you know, could we put
Okay.
a welcome out to, it's almost a Facebook type format.
Kind of. Alright.
Did, you know,
And then
we
just send us
welcome.
ahead of time before you...
Oh, God, yeah, I would never load it up without
Oh, I know.
talking to you
I
guys
know.
first.
Yeah.
Where do you want to peg? Facebook?
Well, I'd like to put it on Facebook just as a pointer, because my concern is that not many people go to the Town of Berlin webpage.
Yeah, because
So-
it's ugly and useless.
Agreed.
Like,
Well, in its current format, but
it
just to
kinda-
drop...
it's hard.
Right, just to drop a note out to in Facebook and say, hey, come look at what we've done. Click on this link. Go back often. It'll be updated every quarter, et cetera, et cetera. Come talk
Get
to us
people
with
to look
questions.
at the website once in
And
a
it
while.
might.
Yeah.
It might if there's a drop there. And then, you know, can also add a little ditty of, hey, webpage is also changing, so go back here often, you know,
Yeah.
type of thing. So, no, that's what I'm thinking, is Berlin Neighbor Connect, since everyone's on there, drop something out there, but link it back to our
Back to
stuff.
our website.
So your webpage isn't, your
No, that's a
Facebook
good
page
idea.
isn't this long. And then it's easier, we can keep updating our webpage, and maybe we go back out to Facebook and say, hey, we got an update, click here, and send people back.
In general, normally you duplicate in the two places.
Yeah.
It's almost identical.
Agreed.
Right.
In the two places. It's
Okay.
just two places for people to look, because a lot of people actually aren't on Facebook.
Agreed.
Which is why you put it in both
Right,
places.
so you have to have it in both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and my objection it was really just, we don't rah-rah, we provide
Oh, no,
information.
well,
Right.
yeah, a little bit of rah-rah, but lots of information. Yeah, we gotta sell what we do and let people know what we do. It's only fair. Okay.
All right. So, have we covered everything?
Nothing yet, right, Peg?
Oh, no. Well, I have rough draft, but it was old ugly format rough draft. So now I need to make a pretty new format mirroring several of the links that I found out here.
How do you want to handle it? Do you want to vote it as a board when you have an update, or do you want to go piecemeal, or?
No, I think I'd rather go the whole shooting match. I mean, so we know what we want to do. I just gonna make it look pretty, and then I can whiz that back
Look what
around
I
to
found.
everybody. Look what Chris finds.
At the,
What is
I
it?
think it's the earthworks.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
yeah, you need to have that email though.
Yeah.
Because you're never gonna,
Well, maybe
I
you
have the-
you
I
can
take it.
compare, yeah, maybe I keep it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll go find
Yeah,
it.
she sent it September 9th at 10:09 PM. I got it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I will.
All right. So, do we have any other new business? Old business?
Do we have an extra blinky sign?
We don't, we actually borrowed a blinky sign, I think.
Because here's why I ask. In jury duty today, was talking to a gal, and lo enough, she comes from Berlin, but the other side of Berlin, over by Highland Commons. So I said, oh, you coming to Old Home Day? And she went, what's Old Home Day? She's like, I never go that way into town. I always go Sudbury. So I know we have blinky sign by the Rotary, if we had another Blinky sign, can we put it on the other side of town? Or move
Right
Blinky
now-
sign to the
Oh,
other
yeah,
side
you
of
can
town?
move
Right
it.
now, there's one at Five Corners, so you get all the Clinton traffic, and there's one at the Rotary. I didn't decide the positions at all. I think Highway just did that.
Okay, so can we move one towards the Hudson side? Get that side of town?
Usually-
Where would you move it, though?
I know, that's the
I
problem.
think,
You'd
haven't
probably,
we seen?
It's been in the center of
Yeah,
town,
the only
but
place you can really
Yeah.
put it.
you'd have to put it in
is by-
Hudson for her.
It's by Pleasant Street. I've
we'll
seen
just
it.
run back and forth
What's
by
that?
The only place I
495
think I've seen
interchange.
it is by Pleasant Street,
Right, that's what I just was saying.
Right, and that's
yeah.
already that's
Center
too
of
far
town,
into
sort of.
town.
Maybe the corner of.
You're gonna just have to tell her she
What about
needs
Wilson?
to travel this way.
Remember the old Wilsons where the animal hospital is?
Well, they would let you because they actually work at the animal hospital. I'm sure they let you plop it at the animal hospital.
So maybe we can
Maybe
put
we should
Blinky
put it in
sign there?
Heritage Mall area? Or
Where?
is that too far down?
Heritage Mall, that's,
No, like
that's
at the
Hudson.
corner of Gates Pond?
Maybe,
Corner of Gates Pond and Coolidge?
as long as it doesn't obstruct the traffic.
Yeah, I mean, just to get the, it was just kind of funny. She's like, what's Old Home Day? And then her follow-up question was, where's the school? So I'm thinking, oh, all right, is there an entire population on the other side of the town that we don't think about, that we just do this side with Blinky signs? All right. And I know that we don't have many more days left, so,
It also has been in the paper.
I know.
It's been,
But she had no idea, none, not a squat.
yeah, you can throw the water out there, but you can't make
Maybe
it drink
I
a
it.
know.
postcard flyery thing next year.
Yeah, but that costs money.
We make Lisa go door to door with milk chocolate to give out next year.
Really?
No honey sticks.
You have
take
no
honey
idea.
No honey sticks.
The kids
All right, all
loved
right,
them,
all right.
and it was something different and moderately healthy.
All right.
Okay, what did I say? Other new business, old business, selectmen updates. There's no executive session. Since it's getting so late,
It's just
I'm just gonna tell you, I went to Devon's, we had a meeting, and maybe leave it at that.
some.
Do I have a date?
Not yet.
Okay.
I think if you, I do have in my calendar when you're on vacation, so I can let them know that.
Okay.
But I think we are gonna pick a date for your finance committee commitment at Devon's, at the next meeting. All right.
Holly is struggling to come up with some content for her Powder House newsletter. So she's asked for help, and I'm gonna just send out a push to everybody. I think I already did it once, but a real prod because I don't know if Lucy had stored up some content, and it's just because people think it's already somewhere.
Lucy lives in town, and she knew who to ask, what the topics
Yeah.
were.
That too, but
So Holly
she
is
still
gonna
needs
take her a little bit,
content.
but
Yeah.
send her my way, and I can probably come up with some ideas too, and some people for her to talk to. And I am chasing down Lucy for her also. I just
This is the Powder House News,
this is
though.
the Powder House, yeah. But
Okay.
yeah.
All right, well, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
God, yes.
adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.